This episode, I got to sit down with my good friend, Cody Webb. I was fortunate enough to be on Team Beta with Cody from 2012 through 2014 before he left to go to RPM KTM, and then eventually he got the factory KTM ride, and now he rides for Sherco USA. Cody is a 2010 National Trials Champion, multi-time X Games medalist. He is our 2014, 2015, and 2017 Endurocross Champion. Cody is a 2018 FIM World SuperEnduro Champion as well. Cody is known for his insane skill and his versatility on the bike. Not only is Cody a superb motorcycle racer, but he's also a positive role model for everybody in the sport of off-road. Cody is an all-around great guy. He's always got a smile on his face and always puts in 100%. I hope you like this podcast. Check it out. And now a quick word from our sponsors that keep the podcast going. Bulletproof Designs is a company that focuses on making the highest quality billet aluminum protective parts for off-road dirt bikes, made right here in the USA. I've been running Bulletproof Designs since 2012, and I've had great luck with all of their products. Their products come with a lifetime warranty, so if you break something, you know they got your back. Bulletproof Designs protective equipment is a must-have if you like to ride gnarly terrain. If you like to mess around and find out, you better put Bulletproof Designs on your bike. Head on over to bulletproofdesigns.com to order parts to keep you riding weekend after weekend. Climb needs no introduction, but here we go anyway. I've been riding Climb gear since 2008. They were one of my first sponsors. Climb works hard to provide the community with high quality, lightweight, and durable motorcycle gear. Their latest addition is the XC Pro line of gear. This is what I run. They have off-road and adventure gear along with a range of other lifestyle products. They support us, so go support them. Do you need a one-stop shop for everything you need to keep you on the trails? Slavens Racing is an online retailer that specializes in selling high-performance off-road products. Slavens is owned and operated by dirt bike enthusiasts, by riders, for the riders. The customer support team over at Slavens has a huge foundation of knowledge to help you dial in your bike and equipment. That means you get the best customer support when you call them with questions. Head on over to slavensracing.com to buy from the experts of off-road. Thanks for sticking with us through these ads. Let's get into the episode. All right, guys. Well, we're here. Live action. Got Cody Webb in the studio, the man. Known this guy for a long time, so I'm super stoked to have you here. Thanks for swinging by the crib.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. Perfect time. We got Paige coming up, Grinding Stone, Hard Enduro, and I was in town doing some riding. You're right here on the outskirts of town, and obviously you told me about this a few weeks ago, I think before you even bought everything, and I was pretty pumped for you and excited because no one has this outlet for us, right? Like all the people who like to push their bikes and struggle, and I don't know why we do it, but there's no outlet for us. And I feel like the one time I did Gypsy Tales, it blew up, and so many people were talking about it. So you're the guy. You're doing the platform for us now.
Well, thanks. I mean, yeah, I feel like it sort of clicked with me when I saw that Gypsy Tales podcast with you. And it felt like a celebration within the community. We're all like so excited that Cody made it on the podcast. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, why don't we have our own podcast? Like, what's going on? Why don't we have this? And, it's one of those things where people will listen to or consume the things that you create. But if you don't make them, it's not going to happen. So I'm like, let's just make a platform and start having a place for off-roaders to go. So I'm excited about it. And I looked for a podcast on Destry. I'm like, let's just see what's out there. I'm like, there's like no podcast on Destry. I mean, there's a couple and they're all right, but like, I want to listen to a podcast about Destry. I'm like, well, there's none. So let's just start making them.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it worked out too, because you're pretty much the prime candidate. You've been tagged as the media guy now with the U.S. Hard Enduro stuff, and obviously still racing and making it happen on the Endurocross side of things. But we know you all got some skills up your sleeve still, but you know what's going on. You got a good relationship with all the riders, so it probably where you're at with your career and doing the trainings, like it was a solid fit, and I'm glad someone stepped up and did it.
Yeah. Thank you for seeing that. And yeah, I feel the same. It's almost like I kind of backed into it, where all of a sudden it seems like the thing that makes sense. Like, let's just do this. This seems like the next progression of what I have going on with the media stuff. And and being semi-retired from racing and doing the media and knowing everybody, I'm like, I already have a rapport with these guys. Like, let's do this. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, where do you think we're going to end up today?
We have a lot of places we could go, but I was going to ask you, you've been staying in Arizona for a little bit. How do you like it here?
It's pretty rad here. The summers are a bit much for me, but it's basically the only thing holding me back from coming here. It's so hot. You guys ride from like 5 to 8 a.m. and at 8 a.m. it's already like 98, and that part makes it tough. I know you got the monsoons, but they're hit and miss. So
yeah,
monsoons are good though.
Yeah, I mean the summer is definitely warm, especially when summertime is the time to be preparing for Endurocross.
Yeah.
So you got to have early days. Like, dang, why can't they be during the winter months? You know, it'd be so much better. But yeah, dry, hot, dusty days are kind of what it's made of for Endurocross prep. But honestly, the other 6 months, 8 months out of the year, it's so nice.
Yeah, I mean, I rode this morning. I rode the day before that after it rained a bunch, and we had a big group of 20 guys, and man, it was amazing time out there. A bunch of puddles here and there, but like, who cares? It's really not that slippery here compared to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Even when it is muddy, it's like ideal conditions to ride. So this trip's been awesome, and a lot of other times I've been here, it's just, you guys got such a cool group of riders down here and so many talented riders. And I mean, it makes sense because the options are pretty much endless. You got multiple spots to ride, and it seems like it's a pretty good area in terms of like the people open to off-road riding and supporting it. And, you got side-by-sides, dirt bikes, a little bit mixture of everything. And, there's a reason why there's a lot of talent around here.
Yeah, it's pretty dirt bike friendly here for sure. The problem is there's more and more things getting shut down all the time, but that's the same as everywhere.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So you just kind of continue riding where you can and finding a little better parking spot and another parking spot and then another parking spot and just keeping it fresh, and obviously nothing doing anything like damaging or disrespectful, not like doing wheelies through people's backyards, but you still got to ride your dirt bike, man.
Yeah. And that's the problem with dirt bikers, on Hollywood makes us look like all these rebels and bad guys. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a family guy, 2 kids. Like, I literally I was such a square in high school and junior high, like just a big old nerd that was good on 2 wheels. So like, dude, honestly, we got a bad rap as dirt bikers.
Dirt bikers get a bad rap. And especially, I feel like hard enduro guys are such nerds.
Yeah.
Like all of the hard enduro guys are such nerds. I mean, like you nerd, me nerd. Like I nerd out on what we do.
McLovin, obviously nerd.
Yeah, Ryder, total nerd. Tristan, nerd in his own right. Like we're all just like different. And I think that's part of what brings us all together too, is because we're all like so different and unique. And we're like, okay, he's just a kind of a dork like me, and he does incredible shit too, and we all like the same thing. Like, oh, okay, let's party. This is great.
Yeah, it's super fun. But like, a lot of those guys have been riding here the last like month or so. I mean, I know you had Ryder at your house. Tristan and Will have been down here, and I kind of came in the area for a bit. I did the Gypsy Tales 500 race.
How was that?
It was just brutal. Like,
was it?
If it's a GP style race, and I like going slow. The Endurocross was my favorite part of the whole course, and like people couldn't even make it through the tires at the end of the day. Like they had dirt all the way up to it, and I think 200 teams in over 8 hours. Like the course is just wrecked. First lap out was like the best one, but I had mad arm pump, so like it was still probably my fastest time, even though I couldn't hold on. But like the end of the day, it was everything you're doing is just trying to find smooth lines out there.
What was the camaraderie like? Because I know that he was trying to make that like a fun event, family friendly, fun, friends, team race, who cares, have fun type of thing.
No, it was super fun. I was surprised to see all the different sort of people that showed up to it. Like I saw dudes I know that ride hard enduro stuff in Colorado. They showed up on like a bone stock, like I think a hard enduro setup Sherco, and I'm like, that was a bold choice. And then like, you had Tyler Lynn, who's built for that kind of stuff. Like he destroyed it, and guys were just doing it for fun. And we had a dealership who just asked if we want to do it. They're like, oh, we'll fund you guys to go do this race and give you a bike, which was awesome, but at the same time they just like put tires on it and mooses, and that was pretty much about it. So we kept losing bolts because the bike was like straight off the showroom floor, like never been ridden. So like we lost the fork guard at one point, almost lost the front fender, lost the seat bolt, lost shroud bolts. Like we're coming in like tightening the subframe bolts like in our pit stops, but it was super fun. Like glad I did it. It was a great workout, just charging through terrible sand whoops.
Yeah, that sounds rough. How much fun are extracurricular races for you, generally speaking? Because I feel like you have a pretty heavy-duty schedule with doing the Hard Enduro series, Endurocross, and what else are you racing this year?
I mean, I toned it down a little bit this year because I didn't go to SuperEnduro again, which SuperEnduro is awesome, but like the travel literally just destroys you back and forth. And then I'm trying to race here in the States, and honestly, it's hard to be at like your peak level, especially now that I'm not 24 and don't have naturally as much testosterone as these kids. So I could feel my age a little bit more now, unfortunately, than I used to, and injuries. So yeah, but I'm still racing a ton this year. I mean, I'm doing all the Western Hard Enduro races, I think, US Hard Enduro Series, Endurocross. I did the Mesquite race. I did the Hawaii ones as well, just because why not? Used flight miles to fly there with my family for essentially free.
How fun was Hawaii, dude?
It was, once I got done with the Kauai race, I had a little bit more fun because I did not have fun there.
Do you want to talk about Kauai a little bit?
We should.
Dude, because
these Hawaiians are sneaky, dude.
They're
they make little comments, but they don't tell you what to do.
Nah, brah. Yeah, they keep their secrets because that's what they have. They grew up there, and they why would they tell one of the best guys ever that all they want to do is beat? I mean, it makes sense that they would withhold some of their little small secrets and try to win.
I can't take anything from like Cavello killed it. Ryder and Conor are riding awesome, but I got beat. Like, what can I say? Everyone's like, what happened? Oh, everyone, like, people were talking smack online, and I'm like, I wasn't even that offended by it. Like, it was more of like a humbling thing you need sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, go back to the drawing board.
Well, and the people that are saying what happened, like, they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know what I've got put through out there in those mountains.
Dude, they don't know at all. They don't know at all.
Like, what place can you start in third gear on a hill with like no run and like have to shift to fourth just to get up it? Like, I couldn't. It was like everything I know on a motorcycle, and I feel like I know quite a bit of things and I'm pretty good. Like, I went there and it was like everything I tried that made sense didn't make sense, and the only thing that did was just to flog it in fourth gear and fry my clutch, and that's the only way I got up these hills.
It's weird. Very unique place. I think that's the most different place that I've ridden a dirt bike in Kauai. I mean, what have you ridden a place that compares in any way?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people brought up Ohio because we had some really muddy races there in the past, and it's just still a lot different. Like, it might be worse there, but you're able to do more things in Ohio still, and the mud's more of that like sticky mud, where this is just a layer of grease on a linoleum floor, and you don't really dig a rut. Like, it was pretty gnarly. So, you know, they all ran tubeless there, and like, I've been super happy with the moose balls, but I can't quite get to that low enough pressure without worrying about losing a rim lock or the tire off the bead unless I run like 4 rim locks, which I don't want to do. That's too much effort. So, you know, they all run tubeless at, 2 PSI or something like that, and it keeps the tire on the bead. And honestly, I think it helps with that tire being on the bead on those cross cambers and stuff, maybe because the tire can still get flat but it has hold up, whereas like you go too low on a moose,
it rolls,
and it'll start rolling on you because you don't have that stability on the bead. So it was challenging, needless to say, for me. And I don't know when I'll release my GoPro footage of that race. I need to get it from Ryan and Matt at US Hard Enduro. They got the card still because they didn't give that to me. I only have the first. I'm gonna have to start a OnlyFans account and charge for it because I can't put it on YouTube because it is very vulgar.
Well,
not meant for children.
Anybody listening to this would probably go straight to OnlyFans and sign up for that because they would probably be pretty funny. Yeah,
they said it was like I learned to cuss for the first time and didn't know how to cuss and was just throwing strings of words together that didn't even make sense. There's a couple scenes where like my bike's upside down, I'm just standing there flipping it off, just looking at it.
No way.
Yeah.
Full meltdown.
And then it was so slippery. Like the creeks were crazy deep water. Like for sure I sucked water into my engine there.
Oh, dude,
like the bike wouldn't want to start sometimes when it got upside down. Like not because it was flooded, but it wouldn't clean out and stuff afterwards because for sure water got in the car.
Or on like your air filter.
Yeah, air filter. Yeah. So, but like my butt got so slippery when I wasn't in the creeks on those hills from like falling and pushing and a bike upside down. Like I couldn't hold myself up on the seat. I just kept sliding off the seat. So there was like 2 or 3 times, it's on my GoPro even, where I stopped in the deep water, took my seat off and like cleaned my seat in the creek. And I'm like sitting down, like wiggling my butt, trying to clean my pants off.
No way.
And it helped. Like I had traction again.
So there was mud on your seat.
Yeah. And I couldn't like hold myself up because it was just so much mud. I was just sliding off the seat.
Those are the kind of things that happen in Hard Enduro.
Like I've never done that in my life. I don't even know why I thought about doing that. Like I've never thought about that before, but I was like, I can't hold myself up.
Well, dude, when you get desperate, when you need to find a way to figure out a way, you'll figure out a way.
And I thought I was never going to get out of those mountains.
Yeah.
You too. You and Evan got out in dark. Yeah. But there's no roads there. No access.
Roads. No access. You have to be like an expert level rider just to get to the trail.
I was laughing at the film, like the filming they came out, like the recap was like literally just GoPro footage because Ryan couldn't get anywhere. You guys couldn't access to where we were.
Oh, dude, it was gnarly.
And like sweepers were having to ride people's bikes out because the riders were so beat.
This guy Richard, who was like my tour guide for the day, I showed up the morning of the race, and he came up to me and was like, "How's it going?" He's like, "I helped mark the course and been working this event and I'm kind of off today. Do you guys need anything?" I'm like, yeah. I have no idea where to go and how to find these guys. So can you take me around and I'll film them as much as I can?" He's like, "No problem." So I had him all day. This guy Richard was an incredible rider, just like a regular Hawaiian guy. He does suspension for everybody there. So his bike was, he's just like, they're all about the setup there. Because I think the setup is like crucially important.
They have 11-tooth countershaft sprockets.
I didn't even know they made those.
Yeah. Did they steal it off a trials bike? Like
I don't know. Yeah. And why an 1147 instead of a 1250?
I don't know.
I think they said it works different. They get more wheel spin out of it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They start in 4th gear instead of 3rd on the hills. Like
yeah, they start in 4th gear and like whirr, and they spin the tire and then they heat up the hard clay and then it grips eventually. It's
it like evaporates,
bro.
It evaporates the water out of the clay. Just spinning right there.
It does. I think that's like part of their technique.
Yeah, it must be. I mean, it didn't make sense to me, like because I went the wrong way. I crashed a ton. I was way back. Cavello passed me like I didn't even know how to ride a motorcycle, instantly dropped me. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try and catch up. And I was just like pushing to try and hang on to this guy. And I went the wrong way. I took the A course. So I went down this hillside. It took me 10 minutes probably to get back up after I realized I went the wrong way. And then I'm just beat, tired, pushing. And I love how I get to the top. And this Hawaiian guy's like, "Oh, should have run tubeless, eh?" Like giving me crap. And I was like, whatever. So then I finally get out. I had that huge crash. That Evan filmed where I like tumbled down the hill.
That was gnarly.
It just crushed my calf was so, I was like cramping after that.
You crushed it between your foot peg and the tree it was trying to get up past, right?
Yeah. So then I tumbled upside down. I was just so over it. And then I caught Ryder and Kana.
How did you catch them?
I don't know. I just kept going down the creeks and like they're like, it's really technical after this. You can catch them. So I just like never gave up, I guess. So I go down the creeks, got hung up on a couple more things, but not near as bad as earlier in the race. And we got to like this one gnarly tic-tac section. It was a newer hill. I think they call it 20-minute climb. And it was the only thing that had any sort of dirt that made sense because I think it was newer and more fresh and virgin. So there was like some roots there and like not just red clay. There was some dirt that had traction and they were like helping and pulling each other on this stuff. I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is the only thing that actually makes sense how to ride.
Really?
So I caught them at the top of that and then followed them for a bit. Got through, we had like this gnarly creek and a gnarly waterfall thing that they rode up. And I like...
That's when you caught him, right?
Yeah, I caught him right before that, essentially. I caught him on that big, gnarly uphill.
On that big hill, yeah.
And then you hear someone, right? So then you become predator.
Yeah.
So like I definitely push a little bit harder. Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing it right. So
I'm not 30 minutes behind anymore. Yeah.
And then when it's like reassurance that what you're doing it right. So then you turn that up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I caught him. And then I actually gapped him after that big waterfall. I had maybe like a 5-minute gap on them. I was like, well, no idea where Velo is. Like, I'll get second. And there was like 3 hills before the finish. And same thing as earlier. I could not ride them to save my life. Like, they got up in like a few tries. It took me probably 8 tries to the first one.
No way.
And then the next one, I barely got out of the first one in front of them.
And you can't push up the hills there. Like,
No.
you can't not make it and then be like, oh, I'm just going to push to the top.
I couldn't even, I was like crashing, turning around to get back up and do them again.
You come to, as soon as you slow down, you got to put your feet out, your feet speed up in the opposite
Bike
direction.
upside down, you're dragging your bike.
Yeah, and your bike always ends up like handlebar down.
Gas coming out of the tank.
Yeah, upside down and backwards somehow. Like, now I need to flip my bike over twice just to ride this thing down. It's brutal there.
Yeah. It killed me there. And then the cramps hit there because I'm like, 3.5 hours in.
And you're like thinking you're so close.
And I've already been dragging my bike everywhere else. I'm just smoked.
So you got to those hills. The first one took you 8 tries, and that's when those guys caught you?
Yeah, so they caught back up, and then I barely got up that one before them. Like, there's a guy at the top with a scanner, and I'm like, how did he make this? Like, I was like, this is impossible. But it was. I made it. I was just being a sissy. So then we drop into this right off the bat, boom, right into another valley with the uphill. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then that one is where I tried like using my own technique, and it wasn't working. It was like a little knoll you kind of had to ride over. So I was like letting off and then like wading into it again. No, dumb mistake. Just should have held it wide open and clutched it
the whole way.
Because they both passed me there. And my favorite thing was like, I'm on that hill. I don't think I've ever talked to Convoy in my life. Like, I didn't know if he did talk or not,
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm surprised you've got this far with that tire setup. I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. Like, it was a nice, like, backhanded compliment or something. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. He probably meant well by it.
Yeah.
He probably was like actually legitimately surprised. Like, oh,
yeah,
fuck, this guy is good.
I don't know. So then I finally got out of that one when I just never let off, like 3rd gear start.
Really?
Yeah, I got up that one finally. And then I can tell my clutch was not in a good place after multiple tries on that and the one before that and the rest of the day leading up to that. And that was my old Clapper practice bike that I sent over there. So she was tired.
There's only so much she could handle.
Yeah. Especially no run, just flogging the clutch, pissing it off.
What a brutal race.
So then the next one was like that paper bark stuff.
Yeah. Oh, wait, was that in
No,
Kauai?
they had that in Kauai too.
They did, okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't like, it was different than the one in Oahu. But that 3rd climb took me a while. I finally got out of it. I just pieced it together. I was like, just need to limp it back. And then I didn't realize I was that close to the finish of the race, but there was like one little draw you drop into and just ride a bank up on the other side. And it was like 2 routes and another route and a cross camber. I could not get up it because my clutch was so smoked. I'm like letting the clutch out and it's just slipping. And I'm like, "Rrr."
Oh no.
So then I tried a couple times, bike upside down again in the worst way possible, stuck in a route.
No.
So then I got a big run at it. Like, I got to run farther back up the hill and I just didn't even touch the clutch in 3rd gear. And I just used momentum and got out of it. And then that's when I saw Jim Flynn. He was hiking in to help James. He's like, they're going to run out of fuel. They're not going to make it. So he was hiking in to help James.
Big Jim, of course he was.
And he's like, where's James? And I'm like, no idea, bro. He's for sure lost in the mountains. He's not. He may not come out here. I don't know.
Like, don't even try.
So
there's no mountain lions here. Just let him stay the night.
I'm like cramping, like struggling. I'm like, my clutch is smoked. I'm like, I don't know if there's another uphill. I'm not going to finish this race.
Right.
And so he gave me some salt pills, and I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later. I hung out with him for 5 minutes, which I don't think I've ever done in a race before.
Because you knew that there's like nobody behind you.
And I didn't even know if I was going to finish.
Right, because you don't know how far it is.
Yeah, what was left? That was literally I was all downhill, and I rode right to the finish from there.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, thank the Lord, because my bike wouldn't have made it up another hill.
I feel like that would be really hard with your clutch being gone and not being able to use the clutch to pop the front end up. Those roots, you're coming out of slick stuff, and then the roots are angled with this slick mud on them that makes them impossibly slick, so you can't get your front end light enough to just absorb over that.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
How'd you do it? You had to pull some Cody
tricks
on
just
that?
lean back and hit him and just floundered.
Gary Sutherland style?
Yeah.
That's what Gary used to say at the Endurocross. I'm like, Gary, what do you think about these rocks, man? He's like, lean back, give it gas. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, that's
essentially what I did with no clutch.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, my plates were like black, when I took them out. I've never seen a clutch.
Yeah, you sent me a picture there.
Yeah.
Like, I could smell the picture.
Yeah.
It smelled terrible.
Normally it smells like burnt popcorn, and it smelled like semi-truck brakes that were on the borderline of catching fire. And I felt so bad to like change it in like Hawaii Rides shop. And everyone was like, what the hell? Like,
it stunk that bad.
It pretty much made the shop stink for like 20 minutes after that.
Damn.
Never done a clutch that bad.
Do you think that there's a way to get a moose setup as good as tubeless can be?
I mean, I think there is, but like I don't want that setup for anywhere else. That's the issue, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So there, I don't know, it'd be difficult.
But I could see the tubeless works really well in like an East Coast slick terrain. I don't think it works well on the West Coast just because the rocks are too grippy. So when you hit a rock at an angle, it'll grip and it'll pinch the tire. So I just think West Coast is too hard on them. But for the East Coast, you can't get better traction than with a tubeless.
Yeah.
Because you can run that thing all the way down. And the thing is, I think with the tire setup is you have to have pressure pushing the tire back into the ground. And I think that's where the mooses get tough because the mooses just kind of collapse.
That dead feeling.
The dead feel. And it's the aliveness of the air that pushes that tire and kind of creates that three-dimensional bite of traction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like the problem is, like you said, I've had so many times where I've gotten flats.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I have tried tubeless, and on silly things like it's
and that's why I'm hopeful that you have a good answer with getting a moose that can be close to that.
Yeah, I mean, people keep messaging me because like I think you run moose balls too, right?
Yeah.
So like I've been super happy with them from what we were running before.
Yeah,
and it's
good.
Pretty interchange. Like you can change them out, and literally he just from the feedback we've given him from Sherco last year, they just literally got new ones that are bigger but softer apparently. So that might help with like the bead situation where it's a little bit stronger bead but softer, and then you can run less of them. So I don't know, there's a lot to play around with, but everyone's like, do you drill them? I'm like, I haven't had to drill them. I don't know why.
Just put less in.
I would.
Yeah.
And then when they get clapped, what do? You just throw another new one in. It's good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have a hard spot, whatever. That's fine. I'll slip on that spot.
Yeah, or put like every fourth new one in or something.
Yeah. I mean, remember to get my tire softer, you had your beat up tire there. And like I was stealing like I think every third moose ball I'd put one of your completely clapped ones in.
Yeah. Just basically just a spacer basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the moose balls, and you do need that fullness. Like I always say with mooses, try to get people always go flat to the point where their tire's just collapsing in on itself.
But then you can't ride, and all you're doing is damaging your rim. And you go to ride something fast, and it's a death trap. Like
and the tire doesn't get as good of traction in hard stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you're just going for pure traction and slick stuff, going flat on the moose still isn't better because you still want something pushing back into the surface of the ground, which is why I say, listen, you still want, or my theory is like,
it's almost like it'll wrap around a little bit if you still have some life in there.
Yeah.
But if it's completely flat, it just sits there on the rock. It doesn't really like
exactly
compress in that spot, and the rest of it kind of holds on.
Yeah. The tire just kind of like,
and then you lose your bead. And
it's just too hard on the tire unless you have a stiff carcass tire.
Oh, the Noah Keppel style.
Yeah, go with the stiff tire. Well, that's why some tires with stiff carcasses work really well with a really, really, really flat moose, just because the tire is basically just holding itself up.
Yeah,
and it works. But it'd be cool if, I mean, man, you would have to think that Manny and Tristan and like those guys and you would have a setup that is comparable to the best tubeless system you can imagine in the slick stuff. It's all that you guys do.
It's got to be Manny. He's got it figured out because he's been smoking everybody. So it's probably Manny.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard he's got a pretty good looking setup at Romaniacs, but he runs like the 4 rim lock option. So I don't know what he's got in that tire.
What do you think it is? If you had to speculate, if you had to guess.
I think he's got like one of the mooses, whatever the moose is, and then probably shaves. Oh, the whole outside of it. Yeah. I'm guessing.
It seems like they take like a regular moose and then like modify it so that it works.
Heavily.
Yeah. James Flynn's pretty good at that.
Oh, he does too much sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, he's probably got a good ass tire setup. He didn't complain about it at all, and Hawaii.
No, he didn't.
So that's might be saying something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, back to Hawaii. So you kind of get your ass kicked at the first one.
Kinda.
you get your ass fully kicked,
All right,
like
that's
stepping
fair,
into the ring with
yeah.
deep
I'm gonna own it if we're on here. I'm owning it.
Dude, it's rough out there. I mean, it's a different game. It would be like them coming to a desert race and trying to beat Ricky Brayback.
Well, if we're gonna talk about me getting my butt kicked, can we talk about the other camera guy, Evan Ask, waiting for you? Everywhere.
Oh, happily, bro. Yeah. Oh, dude, I definitely got my ass kicked a lot there.
Everything is like, you guys are scouting, do your film stuff, and Evan's just like waiting for Max.
Oh, right, and he loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
What are you doing down there?
Yeah, hey. Just passes me, waits for me, like, bro, just keep going. If you're going to pass me, just keep going. Yeah. Just let me suffer. Let me suffer in silence.
Don't let it suck in you.
Yeah, don't look at me
when
yeah. I'm suffering. No, I don't want your help. Yeah, no, well, during the course preview, I went out there with like a tire that I was running at King of Motos because we sent our bike straight from King of Motos. So I went out there with like a stiff, but like what I thought was a soft enough setup where I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. Bro.
Not approved.
Not fine.
Yeah.
Not fine. We like came out of this creek and there was this one right-hander out of these weeds. I don't know if you remember it. After that, you went under that sketchy metal bridge.
Oh, I hated that. Oh, that little uphill. Yeah. Ooh. I barely made that.
Yeah. Well, guess
And it was nothing.
It was nothing. During the course preview, I couldn't even get to it almost because I was just like sliding so much, and then like to get up it, I'm like, how am I going to get up this 10-foot hill? And I'm like, third, fourth, what? Make it. Evan behind me with a tubeless system and a Michelin. I'm like, wait,
what just happened?
I'm like, call the local dealership. Hey, do you guys have any tubeless in stock? Yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to have one of those. Put one of those on the side for me. Because I got my ass flogged.
Okay, both of us. It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
But Oahu came around, and I was able to redeem myself.
Redemption.
At least. Yeah.
Bro, you, what did you do to regroup?
I just knew that I'm not saying it was a fluke. I just knew what I was capable of, and I knew it was going to be a completely different venue, different terrain, trails no one knew about. I knew that Kapili had done a lot of work to that race to find new stuff, and there was like, you could tell some trails hadn't been ridden in like 10 years, 15 years, something like that we rode. So I just knew it was going to be a little more level playing ground, and had the feeling that it was going to be the beatdown it was the previous weekend.
But it was still a gnarly race.
Oh yeah, it was super gnarly.
So gnarly.
It was more gnarly for sure than Kauai, just a different type of gnarly.
Yeah.
Like Kauai was a condition thing, and if that rain never happened, I think it would have been like a hair scramble.
Kauai.
Yeah, with the gnarly creeks. It would have been gnarly creeks and a super hard hair scramble, yeah.
Yeah.
But it turned into like you and I did the school the next day, and then we got to one spot, and it was like a spot where the Bs had to ride, and I barely made this hill.
Yeah.
In the pro class, and then the A class did it, which is like, okay. And then the Bs, and it was almost unrideable.
The one with the roots coming down it.
Yeah.
Whew. That thing was heavy.
Like, you have to be a true beast.
Dude, and there's all these small trees, like, really close together all around it. So if you don't make it up this chute,
you're stuck on the grease line.
Stuck in these trees, and these trees, you get stuck. You get one tree stuck between your front fender, and then another one between your back fender, and you're upside down.
You're wedged.
And you're trying to lift your bike, but your feet keep sliding out on the roots below. It's like, bro, I'm going to lose it.
I knew I had a pretty good lead in Oahu. I didn't know how big it was, but I knew I had a decent gap on those guys. And on the last lap, I think it was a section called Madonna. That was a downhill last year. And it was the dumbest line of the whole day. I hated that part of the track. But I tried it half-assed, didn't make it. Tried again, full commit, and my rear end slid out. And then, like you said, I was upside down, gas pouring out of my bike, foot peg caught on one big branch root, and then my rear wheel wedged underneath another one. So every time I would try and pull the bike, like at fulcrum point, it would hit the other branch with the rear wheel, and I couldn't get anywhere. So then I got off, and I stomped on the branch, broke the branch, ripped it out of there. And then I, like, grabbed my bike by the rear wheel, and I, like, pulled it, like, high-sided it back over 180 or whatever to get it from upside down to just sideways, and it's caught on the root. And I was like, these guys are for sure going to catch me. Like I had a saw in my pack and I was super close to pulling the saw out to cut that route just to get my bike out of where I was.
Yeah. PSA to anybody. If you ever go hard enduro riding in Hawaii, bring a saw. Yeah.
And the race was long and brutal. And like Cavello had never cramped before in his life and he was cramping super bad. It was really tough. For sure, the hardest race I've done in some time.
Really?
Like technical wise and just these crazy little hobbit trails and some big ledges and switchback climbs. And if it had rained, I don't think anyone would have finished.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you make any setup changes between Kauai and Oahu?
I put a new clutch in, but I didn't have plates, so I only did fibers, which the plates were pretty purple.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do in desperate measures, you know? So then I took the tire off, put a new tire on. I actually put a different direction too, because the EN91s from Dunlop, they're supposed to run it one way, but I had already used it in practice, and I didn't have it the way I wanted it in Kauai, so I put it back to the way I wanted it for Oahu. And then my moose balls are a little more churned up. I think it was the ones I put in from your tire were a little more churned up.
Yeah.
So I just removed a little bit more material. And
you cut some foam off of them bitches?
No, they'd already like broken down because they're riding in the creeks and breaking down.
Sides that break on them.
Yeah, they start. Yeah, because with time they're going to deteriorate, 100%. And there's no more lube in there at all because the creeks just clean it out. You know,
for sure.
So
for sure. On your tire, do you run your tire like scoops how you think that they would be run, or do you run them backwards?
I do like sand scoop method.
Scoop method.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like the right method. Anything other than that just seems weird to me.
Yeah, like it makes sense. I feel like if you're riding like, I would say grinding stone, but not grinding stone. But if you're on big slabs and you run it non-scooped, I think your contact patch is going to be a little bit better on slabs and stuff. But like in the sand and grinding stone, you want to have it scooped.
And why is that?
I feel like the edge is going to be a little bit sharper and you're not going to have as much contact. It's just in my head, it makes sense this way if I look at the knobbies. Yeah. But if you're on a big slab and it's a scoop method, the angle is going to be off a little bit with the way the tire pattern is. Okay. And I feel like you're going to be more on the edges of the knobs and not as much of an overall rubber patch
profile.
Profile touching the rock. Whereas if I rotate it the other way, I'm going to have more rubber touching the rock, which is essentially more traction. Because on a big slab, like your square edge isn't really your determining factor as much.
Yeah, you don't really need the square edge. So like leading with the lesser, getting the starting point is almost better for the traction rather than trying to scoop it all. Yeah. So it's almost like you almost trade the sharp leading edge to scoop the sand and stuff for a bigger contact patch overall.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think it does. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, stick with it.
Yeah.
As long as you can.
Yeah. If I sound smart, people will believe me.
How do you
I didn't sound very smart when I said it though.
If you talk slowly and calmly, people will believe you. I was going to ask you at the Kauai race, after getting your ass kicked on that hill climb where we were filming you, I was like, I'm worried. What's Cody going to do? Because this is just, I know there's going to be a lot more of this out there. And then I got to that creek, and then the next time I saw you, you were right behind those guys in that creek. I'm like, damn, Cody regrouped, got his shit back together, and he's back in the fight here. What do you do mentally to not get beaten and let that overtake your race? Because you can so easily get caught in this, oh, my tire's shitty. Oh, this terrain's so different. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, I'm upside down and backwards. I'm wasting so much energy. And you can get down a bad spiral. I mean, I not even easily, but it's automatically you're going down a spiral. So how do you stop that spiral and remount and build your race back up?
To be fair, I'm pretty sure I still was in a pretty bad mindset, even when I saw you in that creek. But I just kind of have that mentality of keep charging, never give up. And my dad, everyone in the trials world know that he was a pretty big hard ass. He's gotten softer now with age and whatnot, but he just instilled in me that you never give up. But I was pretty over it, dude. I was But then I'm out there. There's no access. Like I can't get out of there anyway, so I might as well just keep riding the track.
Yeah, because there is no way
Keep
out of
struggling through.
That place is brutal.
But yeah, I definitely struggled mentally there, and my curse words are proof of that. But yeah, I mean, it's just something I've always kind of had, and probably why I've done so well through the years in hard enduros is just that keep pushing forward. And even if you're tired, it's just, you got to keep going. Like King of Motos this year, you know, I hadn't beat Tristan in ages, and he's kept smoking us. And that third lap, I didn't pit and took off, and I was like, and here's my time. Like, I got to go. Like he can't hold on to me, because then it's going to be a sprint between us to the finish, and Ryder as well. So I just was telling myself, like, fatigue is mental. Like, I'm not tired. I don't know if that's David Goggins in me or what, but like I was just having that mindset that I'm not tired to keep going.
Yeah, well, I guess when you put that pressure on yourself of like, if I want this, this is what needs to be done, and I have to make this work no matter what my body feels like.
No stopping. Even if you slow down in a couple points, like
just continue.
Yeah, the most minute little recoveries and continue on.
And do you focus on breathing when it's that situation?
When I'm in those sections, I try to focus on breathing. And honestly, I feel like a reason why I maybe was able to prevail there at King of Motos was we're going up all those canyons early on. Like Cooper caught back up to us. I think he panicked when we gapped him a little bit first lap. And then he took off and honestly was kind of gapping us. He was probably like, what are these guys doing? But then he got all hung up, blew his wad, bike upside down in this crack thing, and I just like, you know, meticulous burp rode right up this thing like a double blip. Tristan said it was cool, so it made me feel good about myself, you know.
Nice.
But I felt like I was just being patient and not pushing until I felt like there was a time to push at King of Motos, which there's more strategy, I feel like, to that race than most of the other ones. So, and then even like tough like Roar last year, I felt like Tristan had nubs for foot pegs.
Whew.
But, you know, early on, Ryder was like pushing crazy hard, and Johnny and I were just like chilling. And, you know, I basically was able to catch back up with Tristan through Nightmare and everything. And I was in contention to potentially win until I tumbled off upside down, and whatever that section was pretty much took the race out of me after that, mostly because I was afraid I didn't die. But, yeah, like I feel like Ryder's learning now that like you don't win on the first lap in these hard enduros.
It's hard. Yeah, it's funny because experience is like
he did that to me. The next day in shotgun enduro, I was like behind him. I think Tristan had a little bit of gap on us after the first lap in shotgun, and then I was like behind Ryder, and he just stopped and let me by, and I'm like, oh, you bugger.
Oh,
you know, you're learning.
You're learning. It's funny because I talked to him about that on the podcast, because he was like, because we were talking about how it's so easy to be overly eager at the start of these races, especially when you have like Endurocross and hard enduro, like two complete
opposites,
completely different types of racing.
Yeah,
as similar as they are, they're as equally different. And Ryder would always rush to get to the front to try to win. I want to win. And I'm like, dude, like, you know, you're trying to win, but you can't win the race at the beginning of the race. Yeah. And it's almost like an insecurity that you carry of like, I don't know if I can win, so I need to try and win this whole time and prove to myself and the other riders that I can win so that I can win. But you're almost better off taking a step back and going, all right, Cody Webb's got all of the experience. He's got the most experience out of anybody in this field. He's fit. He's got the skills. He knows how to pick good lines. He knows how to save energy. I would benefit more from following him and learning from him.
And wear him down.
Yeah. Exactly, because then you're doing all the work for him.
It's always harder to be the prey.
100%. Yeah, it's 100%. Leading is difficult. It's really difficult. How do you, when you're leading, what's your mentality? Are you focused forward? How do you block out the guys in behind you? Because that can be a very distracting thing.
I mean, this year at King of Motos was different just because of the GPS aspect of it, you know, but like we were all together and kind of broke away from everyone. It just kind of turned into me, Ryder, and Tristan. And that second lap, we had to go up dead below, which was pretty gnarly. That was like the gnarly finish from the year before. And there I wanted to be leading into that. So I was kind of leading those guys, and I wanted to try and break away there. My goal was to get away at that point. So I was honestly kind of choosing my time to make that push. And I had a gap on him. And then I think I saw you going, I like got confused. The GPS was off, and I'm like, I should have trusted my gut.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I probably would have had a little bit bigger, tiny gap, maybe a little bit. I would have had the more
dude,
rush.
You gave up a huge gap right there.
Yeah.
You had like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you turned around, went over, and then back.
And I still was in the lead, yeah.
But those guys were right behind you by the time you got back in the lead.
Yeah.
Like,
so
Cody just worked so hard.
If I had that, knowing I wasn't going to pit going into the thing, and I figured they were going to be pitting because they probably assumed I was, like, they would have been even more messed up mentally. It was a mental game, I feel like.
And how do you mental a guy like Tristan Hart, who's
it's tough.
It's like throwing a dart at a metal sheet where it just bounces off.
I know.
How do I break through this guy?
I don't know. Well, whatever. I'm going to say it anyways. We did the press conference, right?
Yeah.
Which was the first time we ever did, and like Tristan just seemed down on himself. He's like, I haven't really been riding, and I've just been riding trials, and I'm gonna come into the season a little slow, and I'm gonna peak at Erzberg. And literally, like, I was like, I got this guy this weekend. Like, in my mind, I was like the stronger mental rider coming into it. Wow. And like, I feel like I haven't maybe had like the trust in myself and doing super enduro and being more run down and battling life and 2 kids and training and traveling. Like, I think I haven't been my full 100% self. And like, I still am not 100% like what I wanted put into it. Like, you got Ryder at your house riding every day for like a month and a half. Like, life is just, my choices are different now than what they used to be. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my best. But like, when I felt like he didn't have that positivity and even in his tone of voice, I was like, this is my time to throw the hammer down.
Wow. Yeah, it's like you just.
Did you feel that same thing in his?
Yeah, I did, but
interview?
You never know with him because he kind of has
be playing it
X
off.
factor where he plays shit off. He's always playing some sort of mind game. Like you watch these guys when they're training, and he's, you think he would say one thing, and then he says something completely different, and then you get to a ledge, and he thinks it's gnarly, and he won't do it, and then he gets to something bigger, and then he goes for it.
Oh my God!
It's like, bro, what are you?
I went and rode Page after the Gypsy Tail thing. And I saw their lines out there. And I'm like, what are these guys doing? I didn't even try them. I was like,
really?
What? I'm like, Jim isn't going to put these in the race because if he did, you'd have 5 people that do a lap.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They love it.
Is Hard Enduro getting to that point where I don't want it to be like that? Like, I don't know. I'm here for the sport. Like, obviously I like it difficult and hard, but I like a gnarly technical, pick it apart. You can still ride it difficult, not like, oh, I'm going to die off this cliff. I'm 35 now, dude. I can't fall off these big things anymore.
I know. It's like
35 ain't that old. I know plenty of people out here riding doing it like 60, but come on. We don't need to do these things. So yeah, I saw their lines there and I'm like, okay, this is dumb. But then, I go and do something. I guess it's all relative. Like, I was doing stuff there was no marks on in my mind that were more appropriate,
Yeah. And I mean, I remember seeing a clip from one of the moto movies or some sort of movie that you did, and I don't know exactly where it was, but you went up, it looked like it was in Page, and it was this thing where you went up through this crack in between these 2 spires, and I was like, bro, there's no way I would ever do that. That is so steep and so
I think
dark.
I know exactly what we were talking about.
And it was on video.
Yeah.
It was a video, so I could
if the camera's out, I'll go a little bit crazier.
Yeah.
But in a race, if there's no camera,
Okay.
I'm all tired. I'm going to do I got to be fresh.
So we need to have gnarly obstacles for film purposes only.
Hard Enduro burrows.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was an experience.
Yeah, Hard Enduro burrows. Yeah, but where I guess what's the question is like where does Hard Enduro go and how do we scale it from here, and are we at that point where it's getting too gnarly or where the
it's like turning into Endurocross now where it's too specialized again.
Where like the top guys are so good where it's like it's hard to scale that down to regular people.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part, and especially when a guy like you is going, hey dude,
yeah, when I'm saying, I'm like, why are we doing these things?
Well, the problem is all the riders go up to the promoters after the race like, you gotta have it harder, you gotta have it harder. Yeah. So we have like,
I guess my definition of harder is different than others.
Yeah. Well, how would you like? What would be your ideal race?
I would I don't know if there is any ideal race, but like at Page and Grinding Stone, it's like do or die.
That's the
I'm
thing.
not
it's
a fan
feature.
of that.
The hard part about Grinding Stone,
but that's the location. You can't do that
all
much.
Location and venue based. That's what dictates our formats, our courses, and everything else. And every one of them is so different that it's like so hard. And then on top of that, you guys are capable of shit that we don't even want to look at.
Like Battle of the Goats is pretty good. Like, Wenzel's waterfall is super sketchy and people crash off that, but like the rest of the race isn't too many death-defying things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like most people probably don't like Tough Like Roar. I like Tough Like Roar because it's just an absolute beatdown.
Yeah.
But there are a couple sketchy like techie lines there that are pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
But you don't have to put those in, but every promoter likes to have the gnarliest race.
That's a problem. I think I think the U.S. Hard Enduro, that's one of the growing pains that it's going through, because we're just individually working with different promoters putting on these races, and these guys have somewhat of a right to make the race that they want. It's their club. They're the one putting the race on. It's their property,
their format.
They know the trails, and there's a and there's a level of value in that too, because every race we have is different. It's unique, it has a different format, and I think that brings a lot of color to the series. But at the same time, if there's a common theme of every race promoter trying to have the hardest race, we're just going to have 8 races that are fucked up.
The cock-off.
A cock-off of events. And it's going to be difficult to scale that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's going to be hard to scale. I think my definition of the proper hard enduro would be everybody goes out, has a good struggle, can push their way through it. The amateur course, people can push their bike up or through stuff without having to kill themselves or risk it all. And if you can somehow mix in splits or do knockout style format that gives the gnarly stuff, the bigger feature based stuff, the more dangerous stuff to the pros, so they're still challenged, I feel like that's
I'm a big fan of like pro only sections, which is basically kind of the same thing they do with trials events, right? Like you have a sportsman class, expert, and pro, and then everyone gets to be challenged and have a good time. So like same common course, gnarly stuff for pros. Doesn't have to be death defying, but just a beat down.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, I think that moving things that direction will help a lot.
Maybe we put our own race on one day, Max.
Oh, bro, I mean,
it would be a dream, but like the amount of work, there's so many things behind the scenes people don't think about.
Yeah, I think I'd be open to doing something. I mean, and there's a lot of people. I think getting the right people involved, and then getting the right venue and getting the right logistic things involved. If you have a lot of the fundamental things solid, then it could be something viable. But man, it's tough. Promoting races is a tough game. Yep. I mean, you and I know a lot of the same guys. Take Eric Pernard, for example. That guy works so hard.
Yeah. And he's everywhere.
Yeah. Started Endurocross.
Got his fingers in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's always everywhere. Started Endurocross from nothing, I guess, and built it up and bought it and sold it. And it's not an easy game promoting, especially in the off-road world.
It's hard to get money to do the sport for like sponsors for the events. And, luckily we're pretty fortunate. We got a couple pretty good ones in U.S. Hard Enduro, but like it's interesting because I felt like sales went skyrocketed during COVID, but then all of a sudden no one has money, but everything costs more and this and that and manufacturing. Like it's a tricky time, It
is a tricky time. Yeah, COVID was weird. It's like I don't really.
Bike sales explode. Dealerships having like month after month greatest.
Yeah. I base the economy off like what a TTR 125 goes for on Craigslist. I'm like, oh shit, they're going for $3,700. Things are good right now. That's when they start going for like 22, 25. Boom, that's the time to buy a TTR 125.
Even though you could have bought one for like $1,200 probably.
Yeah.
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. What out of the hard enduros, the U.S. hard enduros, what's your favorite one?
I don't know. I kind of like Tough Like Roar for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of trialsy, like see the rock gardens, and it's terrible though.
The race is rough.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's hot. Well, luckily they moved it from July. It used to be worse. And then I did kind of enjoy the qualifier was too long at Donner last year, but the Donner one was pretty cool last year. I don't think you were there at that one or no? I don't think you were. It was a regional one.
I don't think I was there last year.
But it was pretty fun, I thought. Like, I actually enjoyed it. It was a good mix of technical things and a bunch of cool new stuff that Brian threw in. So I liked that one. And the venue's cool. Silver was, I guess that Silver's a cool venue, but it's just a long, I struggled there. I had the stomach flu on my way up there last year, and
brutal.
I still had not recovered by the race, and I was having a tough go.
Oof. Yeah. Let's carry a paper.
For a while, I was like, I was like, I'm getting 6th place today, I think. Somehow I still got on the podium, but
you can pull it out though.
I wasn't in a good place.
I feel like you're the guy that always seems to make it happen.
Yeah.
Is that your mentality?
Yeah. Like I said, Kip was gnarly. My dad was a beast. So
Kip is gnarly.
I had to, couldn't show weakness.
What would an average, he couldn't show weakness. What would an average training day with Kip look like if you had to rewind the tape back to, like, I mean, what was prime Cody Webb training for trials era? When was that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I was super young was probably at its prime, but I didn't know what I was doing and had a terrible diet, and I was like kind of a chubby kid. But it got better as I got older. But, you know, back in my prime, it got different when I got older. I can go ride on my own and train and stuff. But growing up every Saturday, Sunday, you know, leaving the house at 7 a.m., coming back at like 1 or so and just riding trials, and Kip out there with his chainsaw, cutting branches down, making new sections, catching me on ridiculous stuff. And like, I guess I was good enough to do stuff, but like I would just, you're a kid, right? So you just send things. But I remember like not wanting to do something. My dad would be like, you could do it. Like, and I would count down in my head, like a huge waterfall in front of me. And I would just be like balancing there. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like in my head. And then I would just commit and go.
Really?
And my dad would just like his huge ape arms just grab me and pull me up in his huge hands.
Do you think that you developed a level of commitment, like the ability to commit to something because he was there to like grab you and save you?
And I think that's
how to like process the terrain in the moment.
And then you can like have more trust in what you're capable of. Like you see like Tony Bow, he's got like 2 or 3 people on ledges, and like when he crashes, he just holds on to the bike normally. Like obviously if he's by himself, he'll crash, but in Europe they have like multiple minders and they'll just all fling to the bike and the rider like kind of hangs on to it. So when I was younger, I was light, and, you know, my dad could do that, and it would be me and, you know, 2 other kids roughly my age, and every Saturday, Sunday, pretty much riding with my dad. And then got older and could drive, and I'd go ride, you know, trials a bunch and stuff. So, and then I worked when I was 18. My dad made me, he's like, all right, you go down to the dog in the box. You're doing a drug test and you're working at Granite Construction. So luckily I didn't do drugs because I was a square, like I said. And, cause Kip probably would have killed me if I had any weed or something in my blood system. Yeah. So, the day I turned 18, started working, and I was just the shop bitch. I just pressure washed excavators and trucks and dozers and did errands, and mostly just got covered in grease every day. But it was cool because my dad like managed the shop. So a lot of times during the week I got to leave at noon. So I'd work 7 to noon and then go ride
it's kind of
trials. Yeah.
In Watsonville. I feel like having a job growing up builds so much character, and it's so important.
That's probably why I'm still here, because it made me appreciate like what I have now, because riding for a living is really cool and awesome, and I get to travel and do all these things. And I used to, you know, be underneath an excavator in summer with just like my boxers on, covered in like a rain suit, just getting drenched in grease. Like that.
What?
Because it was like 100 degrees in the summer, you know, and hot, and I have to wear a rain suit because I'm like you're getting all up in there.
What? And are you cleaning? Are you pressure washing?
Yeah, like steam cleaning, like excavators, like all the grease and stuff.
And you're just getting blasted with grease. Shit.
Yeah. You had to like wear a hard, like I actually remember the show Dirty Jobs with Mike. I like emailed and like submitted. I'm like, I'm in Dirty Jobs. Like this would be a
way.
I mean, it wasn't that dirty, but it was kind of dirty. But like I would walk around with like rubber gloves and a 5-gallon bucket and just hand scoop all the grease off before I would even, because, you know, the equipment can go some time before they work on it. So, you know, they're doing the Zerk fitting every day, and then the grease comes out and it just piles there. I found out it's a lot quicker to scoop it off with your hand before pressure steam cleaning it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Before you get it all wet and slippery.
Yeah.
Grab it while it's kind of got that dry,
And then it's a
crusty outer
steam
layer
cleaner,
on
so
it.
it's super hot. It's hot water.
So you're just like steam blasting.
Yeah, in like 100-degree weather.
Grease build up in 100-degree weather.
In a rain suit with my boxers on, I would take off like my overalls because it's too hot.
Dude, if that doesn't make you want to become a motorcycle racer, I don't know what will.
I mean, this is worse jobs for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's important to at least have a job that you hate.
Yeah, and then obviously my dad, it builds character.
Your dad
His favorite
loves
thing
it.
to say.
I feel like your dad loves that kind of shit.
Yeah, he's like 65 or so now, maybe. He just got a new knee, so he hasn't been working for a bit. But he's already like talking about like when he's going to go back, maybe. So we'll see.
Go back to work at the concrete plant.
Yeah.
It's admirable. I mean, he doesn't even want it easy. He doesn't even want to retire. He doesn't even want to do what he wants to do. He's just like, I want to work that. Give me back. He's like Nick Thompson. Give me back to that concrete plant, dude. It's so.
Speaking of Nick, real quick.
So respectable.
I see Nick at the Gypsy Tail 500. I'm like, what are you doing here? It's like 5 months after he had knee surgery. And he's racing the Gypsy Tail race.
Really?
Yeah, he's been riding already for like, a few weeks.
How did he do?
I don't know. But apparently everyone said he was going really fast in practice the day before. And then I saw him in the sign-up line, and he's like hobbling. And I'm like, bro, what do you like? He's like, my knee feels great. And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Isn't that the whole point? You're supposed to like, it has to, you go through a period where it heals and then it like is
then
sensitive.
You can start doing the strengthening stuff. And like they told me like 6 to 9 months. And I was like, yeah, but no, like for an athlete, what is it? They're like 6 to 9 months. And I raced King of Motos after 7 months, and it still wasn't even near 100%. So.
Is it 100% now, your knee?
It's good enough.
How long has it been?
2019, so.
Does it
a while.
pop and do weird stuff?
Yeah, like when I'm sleeping or like I wake up in the night, I kind of stretch it. It'll do some crackles and pops, but it's still like, I think it's still sturdy. It's not loose, I would say.
Do you think those are the kind of crackles and pops that will like get filtered out over time?
It's gotten worse.
Oh, those are that kind of pop.
Yeah. But honestly, I couldn't go like heel to butt or like, my heel to my shoe to my butt for like 3 years. And then when I did my wrist, I had nothing else to do. So I started working with like a personal trainer and stretching and doing all this stuff. And I actually can get my heel to my butt again.
Sick.
With my bad knee. But my favorite thing is I go to the doctor and I'm like, I can't, it's not the same. And he's like, yeah, but that's pretty good. I'm like, I don't want pretty good. I want it to like bend. I sit on a motorcycle. I have long legs. Like I need my knee to bend, That's
actually a good point. Plus, especially if you can't get far enough forward on the seat because your knee won't bend enough, that could be like an actual hindrance.
So, I mean, when I blew my knee out, it was really dumb because I was filming and it was windy and I shouldn't have done it. And one of those. And
it must have been like infinitely frustrating.
And it was very painful. I fell from very high with my leg out. And you can't tuck and roll when you fall from too high up, So then, go to the hospital in Victorville area, California. It's like full of meth heads in there. People talking to themselves in the emergency room. And, so then the next week I was supposed to leave for Erzberg. And that's why I was so bummed was because like I felt like I was like literally at my prime in that point in my career, So I was feeling really good and everything was still dedicated to riding in my life at that point and training and super serious. And then that happened. So I was going to Erzberg regardless. Oh, that also the day I blew my knee out was the day I found out Morgan was pregnant with our first kid. So talk about a whirlwind of emotions.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then it went straight back down again. I'm like, I have no job. I have no money. What am I going to do?
Knee, kid, knee.
Oh, I wouldn't go all the way down, but it was some panic there.
That's rough.
But so then Erzberg was the next week. Her parents were living and working in Germany at the time. So I was going to go regardless. And I didn't get like trip insurance. So I was like, well, I have to go to Erzberg and get my KTM per diem for travel. So that's why I tried to race Erzberg when I knew I had no chance. And so we go to Europe. I'm like crutching around. I got an MRI right before I left, but I didn't know the results. because Auntie wanted to know, Auntie's Mr. Serious at KTM team manager, for those that don't know, or was manager. But I knew there was no chance. I was like, it literally felt like my knee wasn't there anymore. Like my tib fib went through at my knee. My knee was still there, but that's how it felt like when I did it, So I go to Erzberg. I'm crutching around everywhere, but so I attempt to race.
So
I'm all taped up.
You put weight on that thing?
Kind of.
After that?
Well, I couldn't put my legs straight. I couldn't really walk very good either at all. It's just kind of like you just hobble, Can't bend my knee. Can't straighten it all the way. But I went to Red Bull Athlete Performance Center in Austria, which was sick because that's like their headquarters, And this guy was doing all this crazy stuff to my like lymph system, and he got like so much swelling out of my leg.
Really?
Yeah, he's like
lymphatic drainage.
Yeah, it was like that, but it was very touching me in weird sensual type places. It was kind of awkward.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Like bending your knee and
he's like rubbing like my thigh up high.
Yeah, that's where your lymphs are.
Yeah,
right?
like rubbing my leg, like starting at my foot and kind of just like trying to drain it out, and then my neck as well. But like the amount of, and then he taped literally from my toes.
Good thing it wasn't a pretty girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he taped from my toes and basically like started it and like brought it all the way up almost to like my crotch to like start tight and pull all the swelling out. And like literally I got like so much movement back in my leg just from getting the swelling out.
And was he massaging or like scratching?
Like he did the massage first.
Yeah.
And then he kind of did the wrap to like wrap it up and get it tighter as it went. So I raced Erzberg when I could like barely sit on the seat, and they put a tall seat on my bike. I think I already had lower pegs, so they're the same pegs, but like they got like the tallest seat they could find for me. And I didn't get first row on the prologue, but I got second row on the prologue. And like when I was coming into corners, I would stand till as long as I could, but like I did my right knee, right? So when you're turning left, you need to weight the outside peg. I would like stand as long as I could to like kind of slow down, and then I would like hop and sit down and then put both feet out in front of me because I couldn't put my foot on the foot peg because I couldn't bend it enough to weight the peg. So I was like both feet out, fishtailing out of corners, and then I could like get on the back of the seat out of it. But yeah, I got 88th place in the prologue, so I was pretty proud of that.
Pretty good.
For like not being able to ride correctly at all. I like rode like Billy Bolt. You know how he corners like on the back of the seat? I don't know how he doesn't make sense when he rides, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He like sits on the back of the bike and turns.
Yeah, you're like everybody else is sitting forward on the bike and he's sitting on the back.
Like a jet ski. Yeah.
He rides the bike different.
He does.
He's different in a lot of ways. He's just like big and rides the bike and it seems like he steers it really authoritatively and he's able to nose into stuff that other people can't nose into. And
that we don't want to nose into.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What's it like for you watching that guy progress and then knowing where you were? Because I feel like you were kind of the Billy Bolt before.
Yeah, I was like that, I guess, And then it's crazy now to where like, I mean, I'm not riding near the Endurocross and SuperEnduro that I used to, like that used to be the main focus for us, right? Like, because we didn't really have a hard enduro series. So I did a ton of Endurocross and maybe I was just more comfortable or whatnot. But like it's gotten to the point now when I was doing SuperEnduro, we do track walk. It's something that I would look at it and be like, oh, your home track, right? Like you've done it a million times, then you start investigating and trying new lines. I would look at a line in SuperEnduro and be like, oh, I would never try this here. Or it's too wet today. But like maybe with time, I would make this line an option.
Right.
He'll do it second lap of practice, dude.
Whoa.
Like guaranteed every time almost. There's like something that's questionable to me where I don't even know if it's possible, and I wouldn't even try it till I had the track. Yeah. Second lap, he would just be like, and like almost die on it. And he's so strong. He just like overrides it out of it. And he'll do it one more time, even sketchier. Like it's always worse the second time somehow. And then he won't do it again. But like he'll do it. And he doesn't need to.
Whew.
So like for me, it's like, it hurts me mentally because I used to be gnarly at that stuff. And now I'm like, no, I don't need to do that.
I feel like you still are. You came out in last year, 2023 Endurocross season. You said you hadn't even ridden much and you're like podiuming like right away.
I don't know. I'm good at motorcycles, I guess. But I think I lost that confidence when I did my wrist too, the jarring hits and
that the SuperEnduro when you and Taddy nosed into that log in the sand.
Thing. Yeah. And then I came Well, I broke my wrist the year before at TKO when I fell back, and they couldn't find it.
What year was that?
21, end of 21. So like I did that. I missed most of Endurocross.
Oh, you just come off the knee injury.
Yeah, I had some time back for a bit, but like it was just lost my footing. That's all it was, and that's all she wrote. But yeah, they couldn't find the brake. And then, do you remember the Ibsen brothers?
Yeah.
So Bo Ibsen came out and was like, "Oh, let's go mountain biking." And I'm like, "Oh, my wrist is super jacked up, but like it's feeling okay. I'll go with you guys." So this was maybe 2 weeks after I had done that crash, and I had just got like a wrist brace that I bought. So I was like, "I'll go mountain biking with you guys." And I thought I was kind of feeling okay. I'd been working on the Endurocross track at my buddies, thinking maybe I'd still try and ride Endurocross because they couldn't find a break in my wrist. So I was like, maybe I'm just a wimp. I don't know. So I drop off like the very first, not even a drop off, just like a roll off on my mountain bike. And I just land and I'm like, my wrist is broken. Like it's for sure broken. Like yeah, it's just like that
sharp
zing.
pain
Yeah.
that goes all the way up.
So then we rode mountain bikes for like 2 hours after that.
Perfect.
On the downhills, I'm just like hovering this hand, and this was like, this is my strong hand, and here's my rudder to kind of help
finish this
control
mountain bike ride just to make sure that my wrist is broken.
Well, I was with my friends; they're visiting.
Oh yeah, you gotta send it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I still need to train, get my cardio in. So then on the way home from mountain biking, I called and I was like, I need to order that MRI. Like something's so wrong. I didn't tell them I went mountain biking. So I get an MRI like a few days later. And then they call me with the results. They're like, you have a avulsion fracture of your lunate, whatever that means. I guess the ligament pulls off a little piece of bone. So I was like, okay, we don't know if you need to get surgery though. So you need to come and get a CT scan, which is like a crazy weird 3D X-ray. So I show up to get my CT scan, and she's like, what are you doing? Where's your wrist brace? I'm like, well, it doesn't really hurt, and I'm not doing anything. So then she put a cast on me right there because she was mad at me. So, which is probably better. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have healed. But turns out I had ligament damage that they missed. And I came back and was riding and racing and kind of just didn't have that confidence during and super enduro, and was making like silly mistakes and not committing to things. And I think it was because it never actually healed right. And it was that scapholunate ligament that Billy had fixed. Remember Billy had something fixed last year or something like that? He had like a little cleanup done. I think
so.
Yeah, I think it was last year maybe. So I had no idea. And then I stuffed the front end in Germany, and that's all she wrote. I popped the bone out of place and broke my radius. And
so you had it broken and then you did it extra. Then you did it.
Yeah, I think it maybe was worse because I was going to break regardless on that incident. Like the front end just didn't get up high enough.
Bro, that was like a nightmare scenario.
Yeah. So then, yeah, that was pretty bad. And then I got the x-rays there. I see the x-rays and I can like see the radius is perfectly broken. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Get a plate or a screw or back in action. And then they called me when I'm flying home. I didn't realize, but I had actually like dislocated my lunate, and it was wedged against my carpal tunnel, which could have been potential nerve damage, which is why my fingers kept getting tingly. And I thought it was just because like it was swelling in the wrap they put on. So yeah, I had to get surgery as soon as I got home. And the doctor in America, I went to like the same place that did Roxton's arm,
Yeah.
They were like, right off the bat, he knew exactly what it was, perilunate dislocation, and then surgery the next day, and 11 weeks stuck like this.
How is it now?
Here, I'll do it for the camera. But then this way is okay. It's a little yeah.
Do you find that affects your riding technique?
A little bit, like when I'm going down things and the wrist wants to roll. But yeah, it's honestly doesn't hurt as bad as what it did like the first full year after it. And I think that's maybe why I'm getting a little bit better and better with time, because I'm learning to deal with it. But like my grip strength isn't as good. The arm's a little bit skinnier, and I'm just hanging in there, guys. I'm doing the best I can.
I gotta say, you seem that something about you this year seems like you're as strong, if not stronger, than you've been.
Yeah, it's just not hurting as much as what it was the first. Like it was well over a year before I.
And you're not one to complain. Good. So if you're hurting, it's not like everybody's going to hear about it in every interview.
Yeah.
You're just going to continue on. Because if you have an opportunity and you sense a little weakness on one of your competitors, like you did in January, if you put that weakness out to them, then they're going to prey on that.
Yeah.
So you just have that killer mentality of like, listen, if I got
And I
a
think
problem,
that they already know my wrist sucks. I talked about it a lot that first year, but it is better now. So that's probably why I don't talk about it as much.
Yeah. Well, the brutal honesty.
When I say it's better, it's hilarious because it doesn't. The worst part is like trying to grab something on your top kitchen cabinet because like I can't do that. Or like working on your truck, like you're trying to like fix a wire or something. Yeah,
or something.
It's not happening very easily.
So it's cool to see you sort of coming off this, a couple years of injuries, a good year in between, a little bit of injury, and then now I feel like, I don't know, just from the outside looking in, my perspective, somebody that's been doing media at the Hard Enduro, so I've been watching you race a lot, and then I got to race with you at Endurocross, so I've kind of been with you with some firsthand action, and I feel like towards the end of last year and then King of Motos this year, I feel like you had an extra gear or just an extra level of motivation, or just like it seemed like you'd been training really hard. Like, I don't know, man, I got to give you props. You seem like you're strong right now.
I mean, I've been going to the gym more.
Gym?
Yeah, I've been training just secretly. I don't tell people about it.
Not posting on Instagram about it.
Yeah.
Telling everybody you're going to the gym. Really working hard.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the upcoming race season.
Because people are going to judge you, because I've been just going to CrossFit every day, and here I am talking about CrossFit, But it's been honestly really good for me because it's tough with 2 kids at home, and you're trying to ride and this and that, and you can't ride every day. And I feel like it's just made me like recover faster after races and be stronger. And the first few weeks are miserable at CrossFit, but once you get through it, like you start building the muscle, and it's all the little twitch stuff now. Like I think I have like a better base, I guess. And like, obviously there's cardio involved, but like I'm not as sore when I'm done riding. And now that I'm older, I feel like that's been super helpful to me as well. And you don't have to do crazy weights. You just do what makes sense for you. Right.
Is that how you do it? You take their workout and you scale it to how you're feeling?
Yeah. Depending on the week. And like, they know what I do, and no one judges me for not trying to be a meathead out there. You know what I mean?
I think it's almost more badass to not have to prove how tough you are by going with the heaviest weights.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, nah, dude.
Mostly because I can't do them physically.
It's like, yeah, no, I'm actually choosing not to do that weight.
And there's a lot of stuff where like, I think my wrist, even though it like, you have to break up that scar tissue and move it to make it better. Right. And like, you get stuck riding, and I pull on it in the hot tub or in the hot shower, and I wrench on it. I can get it to move a little bit further, but then the next day it doesn't move again. But then I'm at the gym doing like throwing the bar up and doing this,
cleans.
And it's like forcing it to move. So maybe people will say I'm dumb, but it actually has helped me out personally.
No, I mean, I don't know how they could. Yeah, I think CrossFit gets a bad rap just because there's a lot of heavy weights, and like the pull-ups aren't.
The kips. I don't do those. I can't do them. I don't know how to do
it
those.
seems like a lot.
Yeah, they're weird.
Seems like kind of a dramatic way to do a pull-up, but I mean, obviously they work. But I guess what I'm saying is like the overall model of CrossFit makes sense. Of like, let's add some strength in, let's add some cardio in, let's add some plyometrics in, let's add some body weight stuff in, let's add some coordination in.
Then there's recovery days. Not very many of them, but like afterwards you're doing like we stretch for a bit and try and get some recovery. It needs to be more, but there's a little bit of that too.
What about stretching? Are you doing a lot of stretching?
Not near enough. Do we ever stretch enough? I don't know. You might.
Me?
Yeah. My stretching consists of me like trying to stretch, and then Teddy's jumping on me and trying to wrestle me. I'm like, this is going so well right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what dads do, right?
Yeah.
You wrestle your kids. I mean, I give it like one of these on the plane ride every once in a while.
Oh, those are good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're good.
I mean, I'm definitely stretching way more than I used to. So, but I feel like I can always stretch more.
Yeah, it's hard. I think pulling up a YouTube video, I was doing this one where there was like this hot instructor stretching lady, and I was like, full body stretch. I just give me a full body stretch, and she would run you through this whole thing, and I stuck to that for about a week.
Yeah, pretty good.
So I got a week's worth of stretching
in,
but it's hard. Stretching is the hardest thing for me to do. You want to go train hard, you want to go struggle, you want to go breathe, sweat, try stuff, go explore, sign me up.
It just gets kind of boring.
You want to stay calm and stretch? I'm like, oh, this is going to get tough.
Honestly, it's been really good for me. And like I said, I got my knee to bend again all the way. But
Yeah.
I have to do it every day, or otherwise it won't bend again. Like if I don't go for 3 days,
Yeah.
like I go to try and I literally have to sit into it and like breathe and struggle, and I'll get it back. So like it's a maintenance thing. You can't just do it once and forget about it. Like it is pretty crucial. So pretty much every morning I do some whatever cat stretch. Yeah,
I know. And then seeing Tomac blow out his Achilles last year, I'm like,
oh God.
Oof, like I'm 32 now. I'm kind of getting.
My legs.
Probably.
Have you noticed
stretching.
that like if your calf gets kind of tight for a while, do you start thinking about that now?
I
don't know. Ever since Tomac did that, I think about my Achilles. I never thought about it before.
Me too. I've been playing pickleball and basketball with the boys too lately.
Ooh.
So I'm just like,
you better be stretching, bro.
I'm just like worried about it kind of. And I even like tweaked it a little bit the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Because I got some ankle problems from the past too. So it's like, but I think.
Oh, and foot problems. We both got foot problems.
Yeah. Big,
different foot
wide,
problems. Yeah.
Jacked up feet. That's why I feel like the strengthen and lengthen model is good for what we do, because like the knees over toes guy has been really good at promoting a lot of that. I don't know if we've talked about him a lot with foot.
We did. I think we did some sled drags in your yard once.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's good for you.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I really do. And his whole thing is like stretch and strengthen in the stretch. And that makes so much sense, because then you have stability and strength when you're in that position. Otherwise, it's like if you just want your leg to be able to go there,
like
and
Gumby,
be floppy,
you don't want to be like Gumby.
Yeah, that's one thing. But if you want to be strong in an extended position, then that's something that you have to
especially
train for.
With like Hard Enduro, all the holes and stuff. Like throw your legs out there. I got long legs. I got more leverage than most guys. But like I had a close call today. I almost tumbled off this edge. But luckily my left knee was good. Kept me up.
Good. I gotta piss.
You can pee.
Okay. Where do you see the future of Hard Enduro and Endurocross going, and what would be your ideal setup for the series, both of those series?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I kind of like the way it is right now with Endurocross and kind of the later part of the year, but I never know with that series what's going to happen. But they did get the schedule out pretty early this year, so let's see if it stays that way. I have a lot of hope for it. It just doesn't. It's not like what it used to be for me when we started it. Like it's a lot different now, Mm-hmm. Like we used to have Vegas and the Alligator Bar and everyone going out and hanging out late, and I feel like better because I'm on vacation when I go to these events. Like I can control my own destiny. Whereas at home, I'm like, I got Teddy beating me up over here. I got the other one that doesn't want to sleep because she's still pretty young, and it's stressful, dude.
Hard Enduro is easier.
I'm not selling kids on people for kids right now.
Hard Enduro is easier than home life with 2 kids.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy,
bro. How do you?
Well, Hard Enduro is
how do you do
sure.
it? I mean, what is the transition from full-time athlete to married man with 2 kids and still full-time athlete and business owner with the CW2 training? Like, what does your average day look like, and how do you formulate that? Because I'm just personally curious myself, because I feel like I run my ass off just to get done the shit that I get done, and I'm always wanting to do more and get as much out of my day as I can. And when you have there's only so many hours in the day. So what does your days look like, and how do you manage all that?
I mean, it's different now with Hard Enduro, and I'm kind of traveling and bouncing around dealing with stuff more. But like during Endurocross, it's easier just to like fly, and Trico takes the bikes, So for example, during Endurocross, I'm up at 5 a.m. I go to the gym at 6 a.m. and then come home, have breakfast, get Teddy ready for school. And then I would normally take Teddy to school, and then I would drive down and do Endurocross motos. And then I come home after that, and it's like get through the day. And then in the afternoon, Teddy gets home from school. I'm entertaining him because, I want to be a good dad too, right? And not just like blow him off. And then, you get the kids to bed, and then I was like working on content for the training platform I was putting together, like the online thing. So like there was not really much free time for myself, and I feel like that's when I got to the race. It was like I'm on vacation now. Yeah.
Like, oh, I could just.
And then there's other mornings where like the baby's crying when she was in our room. She's not in our room anymore, and she's pretty good now at home. But now that we're on vacation, she's all messed up again, essentially. But yeah, I'd be you'd be up at 3:30 in the morning sometimes, and I'm like, well, it's close enough to daylight. I'm gonna go. So I would just start like working on writing out stuff for the platform. So all my stuff was written out at random hours of the day when I was compiling everything together,
That makes it even more impressive.
Yeah. But now with things have gotten a little bit better now. So it's not as crazy because she's not a full on newborn anymore,
Yeah.
So yeah, just still going to the gym and riding. But my problem now with the winter when I'm in back home is like my localish spots aren't really accessible. So I head south. So when I do go ride, I'm riding all day, like putting in the time since I'm
big days. Since you got to drive,
days,
he's like,
not as
okay,
many
bigger and fewer riding days.
Yeah. So
then
it might
daily
average
life.
out to similar, but
Yeah. And is there any specific strategy that you adopt to schedule your life out? Do you journal? Do you make lists? Do you write notes on your phone? Do you have a paper calendar?
I got like the Google Calendar set up, so it kind of links everything together. But like you look at it and it's got like Morgan's things, Teddy's things, like Emmy's doctor appointments on there. There's just to me, it's too much confusing going on. But
is it color coded?
Yeah, it's color coded.
What color is Teddy's stuff?
I think his is greenish.
Green.
Yeah.
Which color is your stuff?
Orange and blue.
Orange and blue.
Yeah. I have blue for like racing things and then orange for personal things.
Yeah.
I didn't set this up. Morgan did.
Yeah, that's good.
I can't do these things.
I went for tangerine for race
Maybe that's
related.
like, yeah, that might be my personal one. It's like tangerine color.
Yeah.
It's like orangish.
I'm like, what's a color that means race? Maybe
tangerine.
Soft blue? Maybe not.
Yeah. But like, when I was 23, I would be like, I'm going to go to Arizona in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I would just come and stay at like Stillwell's house for a week and ride and be like, maybe I'll go home now. Like, I don't have that ability these days.
It's funny how things change over time.
Yeah. Morgan still thinks I do those, but I don't that much. I went down to the Mesquite race, did the Mesquite race. We rode Friday for practice, Saturday, and then
what Mesquite race?
That Gypsy Tail race was at Mesquite.
Oh, yeah.
And then drove to Utah and rode with Riley Bender for 2 days and Jared Lamb. So I did 2 days there riding and then went straight to Page.
Or where were
you? St. George area. And then went straight to Page, rode a day there, and then drove to Phoenix that night after riding at Page and flew out that night. And then was home for a few days. Snow shoveled 3 feet of snow because we had a huge storm at our house, and then came right back down here and rode last 2 days again. So
sick.
I get it in when I can,
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, the more stuff you have going on, it seems like you can just adapt.
It almost makes it better. Like when I was racing and going to school, I felt like I was there's almost better performance out of that because you take advantage of the times you do have to ride and you really focus on it.
Better perform. Yeah, oh yeah, right. Because it's like, my time is limited. So how
like if
can
you
I
have nothing going on every day, you're just like, you're like a hippie,
Yeah, like let's just go ride, and I'll put in some 20s, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
it's like today, I did an hour moto on like the worst trail you guys have in this area.
That's a gnarly trail.
Yeah,
a lot of swing arm bashers.
Ooh, yeah, it's terrible.
James Flynn. He's probably left a whole entire motorcycle worth of metal in those mountains. And James Flint, not a knock on you, but bro, you're hard on shit.
He rides a lot though.
He rides a lot, and he just powers through.
Yeah,
it's pretty gnarly.
He's got really good technical skills though with stuff.
Incredible.
But like, you got to get we need to work on the mental thing. He has to know he can do it.
Yeah.
I know he has skills.
100%, dude. I mean, his skill on the bike is incredible. I think even the top guys will say, yeah, dude, I went riding with Flynn the other day and he was doing some stuff that I was like not even trying to try.
Yeah.
But it's about accessing that ability when you need it the most. when the green flag
and
flies.
trusting yourself.
And trusting yourself and believing in yourself. And that is another game altogether. It's the same thing. You have to do all the same work that you did to acquire the skill set in the first place. You have to do all that same work on your mind to get yourself to perform.
And I feel like that's when Tristan started beating me. Like, it happened once, and then it's game over, you know? And then Ryder beat me too. And I'm like, here we go. All over again.
Yeah.
But I beat him back and forth a couple times at least.
Do you do any visualization exercises, or was there any mental breakthroughs that you practiced, and then you had any epitomes, and you figured out a way, like, oh, this is a way for me to kind of access the next level with my mental? Is there anything you practice now?
Not so much when it's like racing. I just try to have a positive mindset with the hard enduro stuff, but like I know what I'm capable of, and I like riding hard things and the technical stuff. So like I'm pretty set there mentally. It's one of those things where I kind of let the race come to me as it goes. But with Endurocross, I don't have as much like intensity focus on that like I used to. Like that's all I would just do for motos back in the day when we didn't really have hard enduros. So I don't feel like my tool set isn't quite as honed with that. So I don't have quite as much trust in myself. So that's one of those things where like on the starting line, I'm like I got all these guys. Like I just like, you do like a mental pump up for yourself. I feel like I talk myself up more for that series.
To kind of like get yourself hyped up.
Yeah.
You come in at like a 7 rather than like a 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you're saying. And I'm just curious because for my own self, and I'm sure there's other people that want to know, but I feel like the power of the mind is so underrated, and it's so much more than what people think. And you take a guy like you who is a extremely strong mental rider, especially considering your background, like just a trials guy. I mean, I guess you converted to off-road fairly early, but it seems like you have a really developed racer focused killer mindset for being just an innocent trials guy.
We're not all innocent, okay?
No,
yeah, it came with time, but like I had to learn how to train differently coming from trials to like Endurocross. And at first I would just like putt around and no one knew what they were doing with Endurocross. There was no gummy tires, and it was a level playing field. No one knew what the hell was going on. So I would just like get through the hard things with arm pump and then just putt around trying to recover and get my best breath for the next thing. And it was like I was, finishing on the podium like that. And then when I really took it to the next level and started winning was when I would go to the motocross track 2 days a week. And then everyone started having Endurocross tracks to practice. And I think for me, my biggest changeover in my career for off-road racing was going to the moto track. And it just brought that aggression into my riding. So that's kind of what helped get me to that next level.
Motocross, I feel, is such a sick sport.
I feel humbled when I do it. I mean, like, I feel like I'm passing people, and like, I ride Thunder Valley a lot because I'm in that area now. And like Ben LeMay is like retired pro racer. Like he used to race. I don't even remember his name, but like he was a guy who was really good, but never quite made it.
Right, like
awesome,
a main event guy.
Yeah, super solid main event guy,
Yeah.
but not getting top 10s really.
Right.
But just outside that. And
maybe
like,
a couple, but yeah.
Yeah, not too many top 10s.
Yeah.
But like I'll be ripping, and then out of nowhere someone comes by me I hear a 2-stroke. I'm like, what the heck? And then he passes me, and I try as hard as I can to hang with him, and he's like within that lap, he's already 2 or 3 seconds ahead of me by the end of it. Yeah. I'm just not fast in moto. Well, apparently I'm not.
It's funny because moto is so fun. Yeah. And us from hard enduro.
I can't whip, dude. I literally have zero whipping.
Really?
I can't whip at all. I've just given up now. I'm not even going to try. I'm deep enough into my career where I don't have to. I'm just going to ride on stupid rocks.
I think the secret to whipping... I think the secret to whipping is coming into a jump way too fast and not being able to hit your brakes, and you're forced to try to keep it to the ground. Yeah,
I'll try that.
Just come in like, whoa. But yeah, I feel like it's funny because hard enduro and endurocross, we have this endurocross and hard enduro is so technical. It's all so precise and technical, and like delicate. And then you go to a motocross track. And Endurocross and Hard Enduro. None of this stuff is really meant to be ridden on a dirt bike. We're going up gnarly creeks and down steep downhills and steep uphills and over logs and just gnarly stuff. So you take a track that's meant to make you not be able to ride it, and then you go to a motocross track that's meant to be ridden and has these prep turns and all this perfect dirt and nice jumps, and it's like, bro, this is so much fun because it's so fun.
Yeah, and you actually flow.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
It's just so, it's better in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it complements the Hard Enduro.
Yeah.
I mean, it complements Endurocross. Maybe not Hard Enduro, but.
I mean, still fitness-wise and aggression, like sprint type stuff,
Yeah,
you know? Helps with that.
100%. Yeah, and just blasting through stuff, you know what I mean? Not necessarily being worried about being so precise, but being precise enough.
I think that's kind of like, obviously I rode a lot of moto. I still ride moto and stuff. But the thing I like about the Hard Enduro type stuff is like, I'm not doing the same thing over and over. A lot of times it's like something new. It's just a little bit more exciting to me.
100%.
Even though it's pretty tough mentally and physically, I'd like not having to do the same thing over and over again, you know?
Yeah, for sure. There's always more to learn, something more to learn. I give the Supercross, motocross guys props because they're just hitting
that dedication. I don't have that dedication, dude.
I don't. That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Those same tracks over and over again. You would imagine.
Like
that
how
has
many
to get
times
monotonous.
you and Cooper, that track you guys built, like you're probably over that thing.
Yeah,
It's clapped.
If I start Endurocross training too early in the year, I'm kind of burnt by the beginning of it. So you kind of have to like wait. All right, I'm ready.
That's what I do, dude. I just wait till the week before, and then when I show up and get second, everyone's like, "What's this guy doing?" I started training earlier this year. It was like 3 weeks before. That was earlier this year.
That's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
You're built different.
Yeah. The previous year, like my wrist was just still so sore and like it hurt. Like I literally didn't ride Endurocross till the first time. Like it was like Sunday before the first round. I rode Endurocross.
It's insane.
And then, yeah.
I remember battling with you in Seattle at the first round. And in the first moto at the first round, I mean, you and I were going back and forth in seventh. Or you were in front of me. I was trying to catch you in seventh place.
I had such bad arm pump.
I'm like, whoa, this is great. I'm battling with Cody Webb in seventh place.
Yeah.
What am I going to have to do to get a podium this year?
That's how crazy Endurocross is now, too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, there was a lot of, like, pretty widespread finishes. I mean, did you get third or almost got third in Prescott? No, not Prescott. Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
Where did you finish that night? Fourth overall, yeah.
Yeah.
But you almost had third, I think. You had one bad moto. It screwed you, I think.
Yeah, probably. It's hard not to have a bad moto.
Jeez.
It's just so hard. It's so hard not to have one bad
and
moto.
it's a terrible sprint now. Like,
So
Endurocross
intense.
is more painful
I know.
than Hard Enduro.
Because it's just so violent.
Yeah.
It's like
And we're hitting things so hard. Like I said, when we first did it, it was like figuring it out. And now I don't know if the tracks have changed to be more jumpy or if that's how good we are now.
I think it's a combination of the two.
It's just brutal.
It's just brutal. I mean, take Prescott, for example. Remember that triple into the corner off that log? All those jumps? Or any of the tracks. I feel like at least 6 to 9 times throughout every lap, you're hitting a log with no dirt on it as hard as you've ever hit a log before. It's just like, okay, here.
And launching.
Yeah, as hard as I've ever hit a log
Landing
before.
on another log, casing it half the time because it's borderline possible.
Case it, stand the gas. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
It's like, man, hey, everybody, why don't we all just promise to take it down a notch?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right, you get points for style now.
Yeah.
You don't have to go as fast.
I would definitely lose if it was a style race.
Yeah.
I'd be like trying to rear tire things out there.
Like, doing a couple bar turns. Yeah, Endurocross is rough. Well, I'm looking forward to it this year. I think it'll be another fun year.
Yeah, it will be fun. We'll make it fun.
Hold it down. Shit, me, you, and Haker are like the oldest ones.
I know. We lost. Garfunkel's gone now. We don't have Graf Hunter anymore.
It was sad to have Garfunkel not show up last year.
And then obviously, like, you know, Kyle Redmond was a tight buddy of ours, and you know he's full on
life.
dad life and working hard, making way more money than ever would have riding motorcycles. So
Good for him.
good for him.
I know. God, it's a bummer to lose those guys just because they're such good people.
I like responded to his story the other day. He was like ripping some hill climb on a YZ he bought. And I'm like, still got it. And he's like, still got it, just fat now or something like that.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Dude, that guy, talk about a good dude and a crazy talent.
Yeah.
Crazy talent on a motorcycle.
He was doing stuff before any of us were doing it. Like I was good at it because I rode trials.
Yeah, like big splatters.
But
and
yeah,
stuff.
he just rode hard stuff. Like that's what he did.
Yeah.
And got good at it. And he was like fourth at Romaniacs with like nothing prior to it. Like fourth or fifth one year before anyone knew what they were doing.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know. It's gnarly. Not to switch gears, but let's switch gears. I was going to ask you, what's like the biggest lesson you've learned? What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself through having kids?
You need patience. That's something to learn how to have, but I think it's hard. It's still a hard transition for me, you know, like growing up, you look at your parents and you're like, these guys got it all figured out. Like we had our Teddy, our first kid, we're leaving the hospital. I'm like, wait, you guys are letting me bring this thing home? I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I'm still learning every single day. And like, it's trying to be that role model for your kids that like you want them to look up to you and see you as a positive figure in their life. I feel like that's something I'm having to learn every day. Like there's definitely days I struggle and he's just asking the same question over and over and over again. Yeah. Or like, look at this. And I'm trying to, you know, launch the new training thing this week. And just today he's like, I'm trying to type and like, I feel so bad because I have limited time with him at this age. And like, I look over and you're like, oh yeah, cool. Good job. Like it's trying to be there for them the best you can. Like obviously you can't devote everything to them. Like you still need to provide for them and try and make money and do your career. But it's trying to be present in the moment when you're with them is something I'm still trying to work on.
Seems like a good lesson.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that that people always work on. That's something that always needs to be fostered and curated, is just being present in the moment. And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you have all these other things tugging at your mind space. You know, the podcast, dirt bikes, kids, dogs, house.
I have to meet this person tomorrow to do this training.
Yeah. Speaking of the training thing, if you got some big news coming up, I mean, obviously by the time this podcast comes out, it will have been released, which is great. But talk to me about the CW2 training. What are you doing? How's it going? What's the format?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really proud of the work we put into it. And I partnered with Blake, who I think you had on here as well.
Yep.
So Sky Pixel, because I started working on it and I realized this was going to be way too much work and effort for me to put out at like the level I want to do it at, because there's not really anything on the off-road side offered like this right now. I mean, the motocross has like the Moto Academy with Canzaro, and he's got a pretty good platform set together, but you know, I can only do so much. And I have always people hitting me up to do in-person trainings. I know you're probably so busy doing those yourself. And like me as a dad and still trying to race, I'm not semi-retired like you, but I'm still trying to make it all happen. And I can't be there for everyone, right? So my thought process was to take everything I normally do in-person trainings or group sessions, compile it all together, write out all the content. And I think it's honestly probably more than what I would cover. And so I have all the written content. I got a bunch of stuff about bike setup. To be added is mental side of things, like racecraft. You know, I got training, like physical training stuff with Enduro Method on there, because I essentially do more or less the same thing they do, but
cool. It's
all skills and drills, bike setup, and content is all written out for you to read. And then I have basically, I think Blake said 150 videos so far, like breaking everything down individually. So everything's like, yeah, it's been, like I said, Morgan's been bugging me for like years to do it. And I'm like, nobody wants to listen. Like nobody cares about what I have to say. Like no one wants this, but you know, I think I was just kind of being negative about it and didn't want to put in the work. And now that I did it, I was like, it's been a lot of work and 8 months now. And like, obviously not every day cranking on it full time, but like in my free time and taking the time to film with Blake. And so we got everything basically on the foundational side of this platform done and ready to launch. So I'm really excited about that. And it's been a big effort, but I watch it and I look at it and I'm proud of the platform. And
sick
for like the engineering side of things and my mindset, like people who use SolidWorks would know, but it's kind of like the same foundation of how you build a model in SolidWorks. Like you start at the bottom and progress, and it becomes more and more complex how you go through it. So I put in an outline essentially that was pretty friendly, I feel like, and it makes sense and progresses as it goes. So, you know, for some people, they might not even want to read the first part, but you know, that's you. If you don't feel like you need to, you can do honestly whatever you want. But, you know, it's got a monthly subscription on it. And then there's a yearly rate as well, annual rate, which I feel like is probably the best option because it's still less than what you would get for an online or an in-person training.
Yeah.
And it's all the same info, probably more live demonstrations and videos on it. And it's less than what you would spend, and you have it whenever you want to look at it. And then another cool feature on the platform I'm using, it's like I'm trying to really encourage a community thing because I want to see the sport continue to grow, right? Like same with you. We enjoy it. So people can upload videos of themselves trying to work on stuff.
Sick.
So I hope people do it. Like this is the point of it. So yeah,
sick.
like we can be encouraging and give kudos and whatever to these people and say what they're doing wrong. And the best part was like, I haven't even launched it yet. I've still been working on it. And like people have been emailing me videos of them trying stuff. I'm like, well, it's not out yet, but yeah, sure. I'll help you. So like break it down for them. Yeah. Still helping them because why not? So, yeah, I think that aspect I really hope people utilize that because I think it's super useful. And like I said, can't be everywhere at once. So this is the best thing I can do to help make the community grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a great addition. I mean, like we were saying before, if you don't make it, then nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to learn from it. But there's a lot of hard enduro, off-road, dirt bike enthusiasts that would love to that have limited hours of the day, that would like to make some sort of physical and mental effort to better themselves and better something that they do at the same time. And they can, through watching videos or getting educated in somehow, some way, they can improve their craft. And I feel like the educational space is a really key component to the growth of the sport.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I mean, we see it firsthand all the time. And whenever we do a school, like you and I did the one in Kauai. Yeah. And you look at bikes and like you see the guy's clutch lever, and I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Like,
oh yeah.
Like disgusted by this.
How do you ride like that?
Yeah. So like but they never had anyone to tell them.
Right.
And like literally just yesterday doing the group ride with Hard Enduro Outfitters, and we're going on a ride, and this guy's been riding 10 months. That's it. He's like 43 years old, and the dude's sending stuff. And I'm like, that guy's probably never had anyone help him with anything. So now this is just a great generic overall, like he's got bike setup in there and all the other stuff and like fundamental key things to work on that these people were never taught. Like, you know, you see people go riding and they're in the middle of their feet and their toes are sticking out, ready to grab a root or a rock. Like there's so many little things that people can work on.
So much.
I know you and I have talked about it when we go out practicing, maybe you're not having a great day. Like you don't really focus on some gnarly training thing. You'll just go out and practice to be better, like better form on the bike,
100%
functionality side of things. So then it becomes second nature because working on all this and writing it out. I'm like at home, I'm like, get off my kitchen counter. And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like trying to figure out how to write it out to make sense. Like,
it's hard to write it out.
Because for you and I, like a lot of these things become second nature, natural. You know, think about it as natural, where I had to like
reverse engineer,
try and break it down. But then I don't want to like break it down to the point where it's just a montage of information and no one can process it.
Yeah, it's hard.
I did the best fine line I did for you guys. I hope you enjoy it.
No, I think, dude, I think it's, I mean, any addition, like I said before, and it is tough because do you find that that your own riding and your own technique has improved through the process of reverse engineering everything that you already know and putting it into a platform for people to learn?
Honestly, yeah, I can definitely sense stuff where I'm out riding now where I'm like, even if I'm tired, I'm like, no, you got to do it right. Like, so it's kind of helped me correct my own sense of riding, which I think has been helpful. And then as well, like, you know, you and I have talked, like, I want to give other people the opportunity to have a voice, like other riders like yourself. Like, I want to collab with you, make sure you get compensated for it because you're giving your time and effort and knowledge.
Amen.
And get you in there. You know, I really want to do one for like shorter riders, right?
Yeah.
Shorter riders are always like, I can't do that. Oh, I could do that, but I can't do that because I don't have legs like you. And I'm like, have you seen Ryder LeBron's beat me, bro?
Yeah, and also I kept my feet on the pegs the whole time. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but like, so, you know, like, yeah, like I think having a quote unquote short kings class,
I like it,
would be great. You know, have Danny and Ryder do maybe them both together. And I've talked to Louise Forsley. She's down about doing a women's class because I don't know what the deal is with the Pacific Northwest, but I feel like there's so many chicks that ride hard stuff in that area. And like Canada, I don't know what the deal is.
Most of the stuff to ride is hard.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's like Kauai. You're stuck riding impossible terrain. But yeah, like I want to have Louise Forsley do like a woman's type specialty class. So, and I've known her forever. We're like the same age, rode trials together forever. Dope. She's awesome.
How old are you right now?
35.
35. When's your birthday?
May 31st. I
was going to say May. I don't know how I knew that, but I knew it. Yeah, that's sick. And then getting other coaches and other people involved is cool too.
Actually, it's really cool. Blake traded some filming stuff with Skylar House. So I don't know when we'll put it up there or launch it, but like I have a full like rally course on there that talks about like following the waypoints and everything and cornering at high speed. So like
that's sick.
Yeah,
and I could see that being fun.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do it, but I do it for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, but if I was like a semi-retired, if I was like a 40-year-old retired dude, I would love to have a 450 and like build out roll charts and figure out how to do that. I feel like that would be...
do really cool adventure rides.
Yeah.
Kind of like the adventure aspect everyone's doing. Like I feel like that's a huge market now. And like I don't know much about it, but like imagine if I somehow got Poltares to do a adventure bike class when he's on the Tenere out there or something, you know?
That'd be way sick, dude.
So I think it's really cool just to get other viewpoints. Like
100%.
I'm an expert, I guess, at what I do, but like,
yes,
people are better than me at things they do. And I think it's important to get all aspects and thought process on it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's well said. And I mean, you're definitely an expert with pretty much all things motorcycles, but I think it's important to get other people's way of explaining included as well too, because that's how, you know, the way that I explain something might resonate better than the way that you explain something, or vice versa.
Yep. Or
somebody else. And the more contributors to the space of coaching and education is the better.
Yeah.
Almost, unless it's bad information coming in or uncertified information coming in. There's probably some coaches that should take a step back and work on their own riding before they start coaching again. But for the most part, it's good to have people talking and educating people. You know, it expands the whole sport. It gets people included. And I think that I think the off-road community is lucky to have it that way, where we're all cool with each other and we all recognize that we're on a similar mission of like, listen, we all sort of like the same things. So let's just make it all better. Let's grow the whole pie. Let's grow the whole sport. Let's get the information to everybody and make everybody better. Because if everybody's better, everybody's having more fun. They're staying safer.
They're buying new bikes. They're supporting what we're doing.
Yeah, buying new bikes. Exactly.
Coming to the races.
Exactly. So let's keep it going and share it. Like when some of my clients will be like, oh, dude, I was telling some of my buddies about the technique you were telling me about. I'm like, good.
Yeah,
good,
please.
Good. The whole point is I want to give you this information, and then you tell as many people as you can.
And then if it's reassurance, like they're hearing it from multiple top guys.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's going to instill in their mind.
Yeah, exactly. So we're lucky to have that, and I'm stoked with the platform, dude. I think that's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then like, I feel like another thing is like, if I get you on there and some of the other guys, like this is your full-time gig. I don't live in Arizona. Like I'll just send people your way if they message me on my platform, if they want to do in-person stuff so like, I mean, I do enjoy the classes, to be fair, like going in person. Like sometimes there could be a little bit difficult here and there, but for the most part, like I feel like it's a positive thing and I'm giving back and I enjoy it.
Well, I think it's something that you can do, and it's something that you can bring to more people than if you were doing in-person classes.
Yeah.
And in the name of helping people and expanding the community, that's going to be of better service. It's just a bigger upfront investment, which is what makes it tough.
It's just a lot of work.
It's just a lot of work. But I mean, yeah, I'm all about it. I was just going to say something.
I was going to say it was pretty cool. Like one of our local riding areas, I was doing like Endurocross motos out there, and it's just like a shit pile and a motocross track facility with a bunch of rocks and logs and this and that. And like this family sees me riding over there, and this kid comes over on like I don't know, what's like a 4-stroke 110 Cowie or something.
KLX 110?
Yeah, KLX 110. Comes up and like tries to ride over like a telephone pole that's kind of like ingrained in the dirt a little bit, and gets hung up, and the mom's over there helping him, and I like run down. I'm like, this is my chance, like to like get this kid stoked
on Hard
Enduro. Like I was like, yes, here's my time. So like I go down there, I'm like, I don't think they even know who I was. Like,
even better.
They probably had no idea. And here I am, like trying to coach this kid. I was like, okay, roll back a little bit, like trying to do like this, put the weight on the rear and pop up over it. So like,
hell yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully that one little instance kind of helps open that kid's eyes to see what he can do,
Sometimes a moment like that is all it takes to inspire a kid to open their eyes to a whole new avenue of riding and life.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, just think about some of the interactions with people, with riders that you've had at a young age. I mean, I can think of it, interactions with Steve and Destry and even some of the guys that I race with now, just like kind of mind shifting interactions with guys where I'm like, oh, okay, something clicked.
Things make sense.
Yeah.
Like when I first started riding off-road and enduro, like I bought like a KTM when I was 19.
Yeah.
And I was like staying and riding at Kyle's because I rode trials with Colton. And so I stayed at Kyle Redmond's because Colton was there doing Endurocross and stuff. And like Kurt Caselli lived right down the road essentially from Kyle. So we went out trials riding with Kurt, and I've never seen someone so pissed off ever because he was not good at it and I was way better than him. So the next day he's like, we're going to do like, went to Bean Canyon. He's like, we literally did jumps all day.
Was it
like,
fun?
No, I had never even like jumped him. I was like, I hated it. So,
Kurt Nichols hitting jumps.
No, Kurt Caselli.
Oh, Caselli.
Yeah, Caselli. Kurt Caselli. Yeah. Just like him hitting massive booters on a 450. And I'm just like on a 252 stroke, like hitting. Like riding over rocks.
Like hitting it as hard as you can, but not clear. Just like
not jumping. I was so scared, dude. No chance to jump at him.
Some guys go big, dude. Like
I didn't.
Kurt goes big. Taylor goes big. Like not afraid.
Taylor goes real big.
He's not afraid.
But like, I think it was like the third day of being there or something. He had like a turn track. He's like, you need to learn how to, you can't ride this thing. Like he basically said I sucked at riding a dirt bike. So I had my bars rolled forward and I was like a trials goon, So I'm like doing figure eights and he's just like, what do you, like, he was just so, I'm like in second gear, like clutching it and just wasting all this energy, trying to go fast. He's like, what are you doing? Like, and it's something that stuck in my head. And it was like the first time I ever had like any little bit of off-road teaching from someone. And he's like, you're trying to like blow these corners out. Like think about an off-road race. You're racing for 3 hours and you blow out every corner. Like you're just going to ruin all these corners and you might hit 2 corners awesome in this whole race. Whereas if you just shift up in third, don't touch the clutch. He was like making me not touch the clutch and do circle tracks and figure eights. He's like, you're being so much more efficient and carrying momentum. And I was like, that does make sense. And it like stuck with me ever since. So that's kind of the same instance where like I learned something. And I think that applied to being efficient now. Like you don't waste your energy if you don't have to.
100%. It is crazy how much a handicap can help you too. If you take something away, if you take your brakes away or you take your clutch away, how much better of a rider you become.
You just start riding, not thinking about it.
Because there's one less thing going on, and then you take whatever your crutch was and take that away, and now you have to hit the corner right or whatever it is, right? I do that with my riders all the time.
And it's frustrating at first, but then I think they see the benefit afterwards.
I tell them, like, listen, you guys are going to blow some turns. And you're gonna roll out of some turns. You're going to blow some turns, but just stick with it. Keep your momentum. Come in a little bit slower. I want to see fast exit speeds, patient entries. Start with that.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty good starting point.
And then you're saving energy, being more efficient.
Yeah. The one other thing I want to talk about with your platform, the CW2 training, is I feel like online training almost has more of a space now than it ever has because all the electric bikes. You know, you got the Stark and then the eMotion Trials bike and stuff like that. So people can actually watch your stuff, hop on their eMotion Trials bike.
Like do it in their yard.
And do it in their yard. Yeah. No affiliate with eMotion, by the way. But I'm just such an advocate for being able to ride a dirt bike anytime, anywhere, any place. And if I have a dirt bike that I can ride in my backyard in the city and I can watch Cody Webb.
Show me how to do something.
Yeah, show me how to do something. And then I can go out there and practice it and start tying it together. Bro.
I mean, yeah, it's going to probably expand like crazy. And like, it's nuts, that whole new world of the electric thing. And it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Hopefully the batteries get better sooner, but that way we can use it on long rides. But for now, it's like stay close to the truck.
Yeah, that's the only limiting factor is like the long rides with the electric bikes.
But the motors are sick, and the mapping you can do, like to change the horsepower and the torque, and
so sick.
You can do way more than any gas powered bike.
And we might not have the longevity with the electric bike, but you're gaining something else, and that's being able to ride inner city
almost anywhere. Yeah,
and almost anywhere. Yeah, that's what you get out of it. So it's like people compare it to a gas bike, and I'm like, yeah, there's definitely certain comparisons. I see why you could make that, but it's just a different bike. And if you're a real dirt bike enthusiast, you kind of need both. You need electric dirt bikes and a gas dirt bike.
And a trials bike, bicycles, and a side-by-side.
Yeah. It adds up quick.
Yeah.
Adds up quick. Cody, it's been a hell of a time talking to you. Can you tell people where to find you and your program?
Yeah, I mean, on Instagram, I'm Cody Webb 2, but most people who listen to this probably follow me on there, I'm guessing, because that's that sport.
Exactly.
And then I got CW2 training on there, working on starting to get probably pumping way more stuff on that now that I'm about to have this launched. And CW2training.com is the website, and it'll link you to the platform, but this will be out after that. So the platform is hub.cw2training.com. So a little bit different name.
Sick.
There we go.
Well, dude, I've had so much fun talking to you. I appreciate you coming by the studio, and I don't even think that we covered any of the topics that I actually wanted to talk to you about. So we'll have to have you come back.
Yeah.
And
this makes up for the podcast we did like 3 years ago that we never put out.
Yes. That audio file's hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably. I just had 10 too many things going on at the time. So
understandable.
I'm glad to have it up and running the way that it is now. And
it's a lot more legit this time.
A little more legit. Yeah. We got the sound dialed in a little bit better.
Yes.
And like just overall the whole thing. And then the visual aspect I feel like is kind of essential. So just trying to tie it all together. And yeah, thanks for being a guest. And
I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah.
It's killer.
Thanks, man. Well, let's keep it going, and good luck this weekend in Page.
Yep.
Fucking A, it's gonna be a big race.
Yeah,
a lot of
throw down.
Time to throw down. Try to back up that first place at Grinding Stone or King of Motos. Should be a fun race, and yeah, man. Cheers, brother.
See you on the trail.
Appreciate you, dog. Word. Peace out, people. Thank you.
Is that at the end of all of them?
No, that was my first one.